All right, gotcha.
Live.
Yeah, the light. Okay.
Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to the April. I know we're May. We're already May. Oh my gosh, I'm in an alternate timeline. May 8th meeting for the Diamond Head Kapahulu St. Louis Heights Neighborhood Board number 5, and I will call the meeting to order. With that, we'll start with our public safety reports. We have Honolulu Fire Department. I don't know if anyone is here from the fire department. Maybe not yet. Okay, if they come later, if you'll let me know, Curtis. And let's move on to the police department. District 6, Waikiki Kapilani Park, Diamond Head.
Good evening. My name is Lieutenant Cyrus Hanuna, Cyrus Hanuna. I'm going to read the stats for the month. This month we had 2 robberies compared to 4 the previous month. Our robberies went down. Burglaries went up a little bit, 16 this month and last month. Thefts went down 114 to 128. UEMVs, which is basically your car getting broken into, they stayed the same, 14. Assaults went up a little bit, 31 to 23. Sex crimes went down, 2 this month, 7 last month. We gave 4 bike, skateboard on sidewalk citations this month compared to 1 last month. Speeding, we gave 3 this month, and last month we gave 3. Parking, we gave 1,813 citations this month. Last month we gave 2,278. Loud muffler, prohibited noises stayed the same. We gave 1 each. Park closures, we gave 85 citations and 15 arrests this month. Last month we gave 85 citations and 20 arrests. Total cost per service this month we did 4,099. Last month we did 3,585.
Thank you. Are there questions in person for officer from District 6?
Yes, can you give, this is Arlene, thank you for coming. Can you give us any details on the assaults? It seems to be quite a bit of a jump.
Yeah, it's random. It's random. I mean, a lot of it is just, like today we had one where some lady was walking, some homeless individual just passing by. Homeless individual told her hello. She responded back hello, and the homeless person just punched her. Yeah, so I mean, it could be random. It's random. I mean, it's not no set pattern, or it just could be random on anything, or might be nighttime. The nightclubs we have, it could be 2 people at the beach don't get along with each other. It could be random.
Are there other questions in person or online for, I see Laura?
Yes, can you hear me okay? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, yes, I came in a couple minutes late, sorry. I just wanted to thank District 7 police officers. Am I looking at the police officers now?
No, they're not. I'm District 6, ma'am. District 7 officers are not.
Are they coming up?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll wait.
I don't see them here, but District 7 is not here. I'm District 6. I'm Waikiki.
Okay, and any
okay.
other questions for District
Okay,
6?
can I fill in my request, my comment?
Is it
Chairman?
for District 6 or District 7?
It's for District 7. I'm just a little mixed up.
Oh,
I'll
why
wait.
don't we wait for District 7 then?
Okay, thank you.
And Miss Anthony? Nope. Okay. Miss Matson?
Thank you, Chair. I would like to know if District 6 extends up to Coconut Avenue and Makalei Place. Yes,
And then Makalei, that's about the cutoff area. So
just past Kapilani Park.
that's about the cutoff area. About the cutoff area between us and 7.
Where?
That's about the cutoff area between us and District 7.
Okay, you share Coconut Avenue
Yes.
and,
Coconut Avenue is ours, District 6.
uh-huh.
And then District, I don't know exactly where, it's around the area of the cutoff. Makalei is, I think Makalei is District 7's, but Coconut is District 6.
Okay. I just want to bring to your attention and ask about your coverage for Diamond Head Road where there was another drunk driving accident just this past week. And a month ago, and so on and so on and so on. And we've been talking with DTS about speed humps. We've been talking with them about stop signs at Macaulay Place to slow down the traffic, keep things safe for the pedestrians, not the moped drivers that go in and out of illegal in and out of protected park, but the traffic. It is an urgent situation now, and nothing has been done. So we're asking if perhaps HPD could patrol more frequently there to make sure that HPD is visible so people will not be speeding. And there are these accidents at night too, when HPD isn't even around.
But we can check our Coconut Avenue side, ma'am. We can make the check.
Really appreciate you working with District 7. Thank you so much.
I had Margaret. Miss Murchie, you're on mute if you're trying to talk.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't mean to have my hand up. I'm looking for the chat. Sorry, I just got on.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious about in Civil Beat, there was quite, or maybe it was the Advertiser, quite a large article about the enforcement activity on Diamond Head that it was seemed to be a combined city and state. Was that District 6 and 7? That's 7. Okay. Okay, then we'll hold the questions for that then. Well, we thank you very much for coming tonight. If there's no further questions. Okay, we'll see you next month. And moving on to District 7, do we have someone online, Curtis? If there is someone from District 7, then maybe they'll come a little bit later. But in lieu of that, I suppose we might take some questions. And also just for everybody's edification, the mayor's representative will not be here tonight. He had to be at one of the other town hall meetings, I believe. So we have a report from him that we can read. But just to let you know, it's not going to happen tonight. So maybe we can have Curtis and our Secretary Boydell sort of write down these questions and comments and concerns that would pertain to anything dealing with the city. Laura, you want to go ahead with any of those?
Yes, thank you very much. I just want to thank the District 7 police officers that came to the Mo'ili Japanese Cemetery and countless times to try to get the vandal rounded up. As it is currently, he destroyed about 10 family Haka's grave sites and was opening, smashing them open and getting the urns to sell, presumably for scrap at scrap dealers. This is very concerning as far as I can understand. The officer I spoke to earlier this week said that he was still in triple OC. And so I wanted to reassure everybody, anybody coming out for Mother's Day flowers or whatever, that apparently he's not a human threat, but would really alarm people if they ran into him. Let's put it that way. So I just wanted to thank the officers. They did a great job, and we'll continue to have them watch after the cemetery. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. I also wanted just to, for the record, just follow up on, there was a hit and run on Kaimuki Avenue of a lady on her bike. And I just wanted to know what happened with that. I mean, it's just indicative of the really bad and dangerous traffic we have throughout our city, but especially our neighborhoods. I noticed that the mayor proclaimed sometime in the upcoming week, Drive with Aloha Day, but I think that needs to be every day. So there's no more questions that we should list for District 7, and maybe they will come later. Yeah. Well, yeah, just in case they don't come, do you want to say it, or I don't know? That's the best way to do that.
Well, my concern is they did a great job on getting the homeless away from the base of Diamond Head and from the cliffs at the top of the cliffs at Diamond Head. But there are still cliff dwellers that are, if you go down to Beach Boulevard or Beach Road, at the end of there and walk along the beach from there to the lighthouse, there are several encampments still there with generating a lot of trash, a lot of sewage, and they are doing very lewd things, and it's not safe for females or families or really anybody because you don't know what kind of drugs they're on. It's a very dangerous situation, and I was going to ask the police. I know they have ATVs, if they can figure out how to get them on the beach and patrol that whole beach from Cromwell's to Beach Road.
We'll try and pass those comments along for, I guess, next month. Moving on, we have a couple board seats, and I guess I did want to, well, we'll get to that next, but is there anybody in person or online who wanted to fill vacancies in Subdistrict 2, which is the Kapahulu area? None came to Curtis. Okay, well, we got a couple more meetings, and those will still probably be vacant after July as well. Just a heads up that in case we don't get to it later, the elections are current right now, but I believe that they're only for the St. Louis Heights area. Is that right? Did anyone? Right. So, and we had a question from a board member, which was, how do you find your PIN number? And it comes apparently in an envelope that's sent by the city, although I'm not quite sure who gets that ballot. Is it registered voters? Is it people with the driver's license? How do they go about that? So there's some issues with that. But if you have a question, call the neighborhood commission office. They will give you a PIN number, is my understanding on that. Everyone who voted in the previous general election. Okay, and who registered before the deadline to vote. Okay, so call you can go to honolulu.gov/NCO for that. I slightly changed the agenda, but we've had a desire to move that around. And if there's no objection, I would like to, move the written summaries to back at the end of the agenda, just before our board business. But I'd also like to request that, that our board members and the public be more succinct, so that I don't have to be a dictator and cutting people off. That also that if board members would help me keep time when people are going over. We have some time limits here on all of these things, and I think we can be fairly succinct and finish our meeting in time with any combined effort. But as far as that goes, is there any comments about waiting on postponing the board meeting minutes until later in the agenda? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I think that's totally appropriate, because approval of board meeting written minutes, as it should be, the summaries come before that, should be under board business, no matter where on the agenda. And we have, as mentioned previously, an urgent issue that needs to come before the mayor's rep during public concerns, community concerns, our city council member, and this is a matter of urgency. So I would fully support your decision as the chair in charge of the agenda to move this item to its appropriate location on the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no objections, we'll put that after chair's announcement before board committee reports under board business. And seeing none, then let's move on with our public interest reports and events announcements. This is for, it's on the agenda there, but let us know. Is there, what your questions, comments, and concerns are for the community? Is there anybody in person who'd like to testify on any public concerns here? I'm sorry, this is public interest reports. I'm sorry, I skipped something. Yeah, we're looking at Board of Water Supply. Kathleen, are you here today? Oh, very good. Thank you so much.
All right. Good evening. I'm Stephen from the Board of Water Supply, and for the Diamond Head Neighborhood Board District, there were two main breaks. We had one on April 2nd. It was an 8-inch main break at 1460 Akamai Street. And then we had another one on April 10th, 8-inch main break at 3713 Leahi Avenue. And our general announcement is summer water conservation tips. As you know, the sun is turning up the heat and summer is just around the corner. So it's important to ensure we're saving every drop of water to keep our community strong and sustainable today and for generations to come. So some easy tips to save water this summer: water your plants early in the morning to reduce evaporation. taking shorter showers. We do have those 5-minute shower timers you can pick up at the Board of Water Supply. Check for toilet leaks. The culprit, always that faulty flapper. Don't let the faucet run and run. And of course, take advantage of Board of Water Supply rebates. We have a very robust rebate program. And you can find out more tips at boardofwatersupply.com/7ways. And Kathleen did provide me a quick little update on the Diamond Head fencing. She indicated final acceptance for painting of the fences being routed for approval. The contractor has completed the initial planting of the landscaping, and we're slowly moving towards the maintenance period for the landscaping to take root and grow. So that was the Diamond Head fencing update.
Did she say when the planting will be starting? Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, it says they're moving towards the maintenance for taking. Yeah, it sounds like they're it's being routed for approval.
Okay. Are there questions for
Yeah.
Board of Water Supply?
I don't have a question. This is Arlene, but I would like to thank you. I would live on Layahe Avenue, and your response to that water main break was fantastic.
Oh, great.
They were quick. You had a water tank out there for everyone to use, and really appreciated the work.
Oh, thanks for the good news. Thanks, Arlene.
Okay. Are there questions online for Board of Water Supply? Seeing none. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep,
Sue.
you're very welcome.
Okay. And KCC updates. Dean Hoshko, are you probably online?
Yes, I am here. Good evening, Chair. I don't know if you can see me or not. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. I'll try to make it very succinct. Just want to let you know that on Friday of next week, Kapahulu Community College will be holding its commencement exercise at the Diamond Head Theater. There will be one at 1 o'clock. And then second one, we have to divide it up because of the size of the theater capacity. So there's one at 5 o'clock as well. And I know the neighborhood like to be alerted of that because people go out into the parking lot afterwards to put lei on their graduates. Also want to let you know that we have a court interpreter training class as well as a community interpreter class coming up in July, and I will put a link in the chat so people can go to see information on that. And then finally, I did want to let you know that we have been involved in a very excellent relationship with the Diamond Head State Monument Foundation. The volunteers through our community service and also our Serene Center have been working on an Adopt a Park program and have been working very hard to clean up the Muriel Flanders Mini Park. It looks 100 times better now. And their final working day for at least this group is supposed to be this coming Saturday. I apologize if I'm slightly behind on that information. I wasn't able to get a hold of our campus coordinators today. I've been out. My brother passed away, and I was out for the service and all of that for several days. So that's all that I have to report, Chair and board members. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Hoshko, and our condolences to you and your family and the loss of your brother.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Dean Hoshko? Any online? Okay, thank you very much for coming, Dean. We look forward to seeing you next month. Are there any announcements of public events, parades, or similar upcoming activities that would impact the public that anyone would like to share? This is like a super, yes, ma'am. Coming, no, eh? Yeah,
Winston?
yes.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Aloha. I did raise my hand when Miss Hoshiko came on, but maybe I did it in that timing.
Oh, I'm sorry. If Dean Hoshko, if you're still here, go ahead, Noella.
I don't know if she is, but I did want to express my condolences, but I did have a concern about the closer to the park up there on the top of Diamond Head when you're walking through where the workout area is, there seems to be some people that are camping up there. The people that go into that area to work out have seen these people up there. And I don't know if that is noted or if anyone knows about that. And I just wanted to once again express my condolences to Miss Hoshiko. But they are there. I don't know if they're aware of it. Recently, we just had a very big sweep at Diamond Head, and it was very refreshing to see one of the people on TV on the news express her desire to leave that area, and so that's a good thing. But people are still wanting to stay up there in various places. The area I'm speaking about is the workout area right across the parking lot. Anyway, that's all I had to ask. Thank you so much, Winston, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, Chair, may I
Yes, ma'am.
answer? Okay, yeah, I
Yes.
thank you very much for your condolences. Yes, we have seen that gentleman and partner, and I guess they've moved down from right across the street from the chapel on the opposite side of the street to further down by the exercise area. When they come onto our campus, our security, because we do have homeless people coming onto our campuses, our campus, and trying to use the restrooms. And so our security people do kindly escort them out of the campus area. And then we do have people going on to the Diamond Head campus as well. So our security, that when it's a public area, I think, the police just have to be called in those cases. But we are aware, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Hey, and then moving on to the other announcements, public events or parades. I think we got Noe coming up later today. So with that, then let's go on to our. That's okay. Public and community concerns open forum. Is there anyone here in person who would like to talk about anything that's on your mind? Seeing not, I see online Laura.
Hi, thank you, Winston. Yes, for those people who may not have heard, I was recently appointed as the preservation consultant for the Alawai Canal project. Now, I don't know what's happening, and we don't know what's going to shake down with the federal monies or whatever. But what I wanted to ask of you folks, because we're all community members, is if you have any major concerns and things you'd want to say, should we be going in the direction where I actually get to do some consulting. I want to be transparent, and I want to invite anybody with their comments to really connect with me in any particular way. So there was also some very unusual group that I hadn't heard of before, a collaborative, Alawai collaborative watershed collaboration. I can't remember the title, but it seems to have been sort of, I don't want to say defunct or something. I don't think it's active anymore, and I don't know quite what it was. And it's not the Protect Our Alawai Watershed, but I think that all of the people that are all concerned with in that group and in our Alawai Mauka Community Association and other groups should all be concerned that we work together and we're transparent and we do the best for the community. So thank you very much. I'll put my email in the chat if anybody wants to connect me.
Thank you, Laura.
Chair Welch.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you for all of your excellent work and all of your nominations to the Historic Register. The project, the proposed project is, I believe it's on hold from the last I heard, but the accurate term for your appointment is consulting party under federal highways. That is for the section 106 NEPA law. And both Winston, Chair Winston Welch, and I, Winston for the Outdoor Circle and I for Oahu Island Parks Conservancy, are also consulting parties for that purpose. So we certainly would like to join with you in collaboration, working together, finding the best solutions for the entire community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Laura, can you just clarify what the scope of that new appointment is? And congratulations, by the way. Is it mostly the bridge? Is it other areas too? When will you have a chance to weigh in as you see it, as you understand?
I'm considering the whole area as important. Basically, we have to consider the whole Alawai watershed, but it's primarily canal. I don't know if it's specifically the bridge. When Misa Otani sent back her email, it was just a very short, brief thing, and so that was it. So I don't know the scope of it, and I don't know when people might be meeting, or if there's any criteria or anything that's going into this appointment, and yours also. But I'm ready to
And
go, whatever it is.
Is there a term to that, or is it open-ended?
She did not say in her email. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So you might want to renew yours, Winston and Michelle, because I went ahead and got mine going, but you want to remind her that you also are involved too.
Okay,
Chair,
thank you, Laura. Yes, ma'am.
there have been a few meetings run by the Federal Highways representative here, and also representatives from Washington, D.C., including the Federal Highways Historic Preservation Officer, who declared there will not be an EIS. That is highly questionable. The purpose is for the historic preservation aspect under federal NEPA regulations. And that's section 106. So you should have received a notice of a previous meeting. It may have been last fall, but they're few and far between. And then the city stepped in, and the last I heard, they were appointing their own consulting parties, only 3. So I'm just wondering where the split is and how legal that is too. Thank you.
And I also might want to say that I did say in my application that I am advocating for a full EIS. So they know that my direction would be that way. And I think if all of us get together and understand that that is the premier way to go, we may get our direction above and beyond what they're saying out loud now. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Absolutely.
Okay, are there other public community concerns? I see, looks, oh, yep. Pixie, Laura.
Laura St. Dennis here. Hi, Laura Ruby. I'm really concerned that all of the plans that I've seen for the bridge don't match the current bridges, Macaulay and Kalakaua or Alawai. They don't match ours at all. It's all stainless steel, and I would like to see something that blends in, if they have to do it, that blends in with what we already have. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And we have another in Margaret. Margaret?
Hi, also I agree with you on that, but at a meeting that was held at the NCO office, the Waikiki board and Sharon, whatever her name is, the politician, they said the bridge was not a Waikiki issue. On another note, and I don't know whether this is the time to bring it up, but the city parks department has told people for the dog park selection to come to the neighborhood board and talk to us. So there may be people here at the meeting or online that were interested in weighing in on that. I know it wasn't on the agenda. But when I talked to Curtis today, I told him that, they've assigned it to us to gather up the suggestions and recommendations. And I did get quite a few people that said that they might be coming to the meeting tonight, but also too that they were very interested. So do we put it on the agenda next week or what?
Can't we have a subcommittee meeting on that?
Yeah, it was the parks too, because it was Laura that was suggesting that we, that the people go to or write to the neighborhood board. And I think they should have been directed to the Parks Department
And
or,
let's have,
the city.
okay, let's have a Parks
out of
Committee
line?
meeting on that before the next meeting.
Okay,
And
and,
invite, yeah, and of course we invite the public, yeah. Okay,
and I have
thank you.
emails on that too, but we
Go ahead.
probably need to publicize it because they publicized it quite heavily in the newspaper and on television. So.
Okay,
But the thing that got me was that the Waikiki board and Sharon Murawaki, is that what her name is? Said that the bridge was not a Waikiki issue.
And if I could just interject, it is entirely half of what we're talking about. And the city and county already closed up some of the nice little steps that went down into the canal, and supposedly for something else, but I bet it was for some kind of preparation for the huge weight of concrete that they were proposing to put over on that side. And if they do a flyover, it'll impact the residential community in the other side. There's a whole lot more, closing off a lane of Alawai Boulevard, et cetera. It's entirely, they misspoke or were not informed, I'm afraid.
well, maybe I would suggest that our Planning and Zoning Committee might hold a meeting with also Mo'iliili and other favorable neighborhood boards who want to know more about the bridge.
Mr. Chair, that's more of a parks and recreation and environment, also historic preservation. So I would suggest another joint committee meeting. And I have a question about the Parks and Recreation Committee. Margaret Murchie is listed as chair twice for both public safety and traffic, as well as Parks and Recreation. I believe our former chair was Dan Decker. Is that correct?
Yes,
So
he was a co-chair, but he's since moved out of the district.
All right. So do we have a chair for Parks and Rec Committee?
Why don't we get to that at our board business, and we may have a volunteer. I think we have one sitting right next to you. Okay, so let's come to that one a little bit later on in the agenda. And Daisy, I see you have a question, comment for the
Yes.
open forum?
Thank you, Chair. Moving on, there's another concern at the Mo'ili Neighborhood Board. University of Hawaii representative mentioned that next week, Wednesday, the 14th, 6 o'clock at Noelani School, UH and their planner will discuss what they want to do with getting rid of the UH Lab School, the College of Ed area. They're going to, a lot of the community concerns are against such a student activity center, which they think that they want to build. So, I mean, there'll be a public meeting next week, Wednesday, the 14th at Noelani School, 6 o'clock. And the last Laura and I heard was that they want to make it a student activity center for the outgoing president, Lassler. And the point is, there's also a UH-owned facility across from, I believe, is Leahi Hospital or near Diamond Head Theater, which they've owned for years and have done nothing to it. So maybe the suggestion would be maybe move it over there or have extension of KCC, use it for their campus, etc. But there is a meeting next week, Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Noelani. Thank you.
And Daisy, do you have access to the internet that you could put that flyer or information in the chat?
It was in this morning's advertiser, but I'll put in the information. Thank you.
Okay, in this morning's advertising. Yeah, that from what I understand, that entire area from Dole all the way up to what's that street where that intersects the university? It used to be where the Burger King was and then the yogurt shop, but it's where the new student building is.
Metcalf.
Metcalf. Yep. That entire section there where the old public TV station was, all of that is up for redevelopment. So that's what that meeting will be about. And I believe there's another one as well as than the one that Daisy mentioned. So thank you, Daisy. Are there any other public concerns, Noella?
Yeah, I came to the meeting a little late, so I don't know if this was covered, but I'm just simply asking, what is the update on the Kanaina Avenue proposed development? That's all. Thank you.
Say it again, Noella.
Right on the Kanaina Street Avenue.
Oh,
right
the
off of-
Kanaina Street development. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, they had a presentation, so I was just checking in on that. That's all. Thank you.
Hey, do you know something, Ms. Manson?
Yes, as I mentioned at the last meeting, there actually is no update. I called the consultant. I tried to reach the developer who happens to be the property owner. This is spot zoning in reverse. The entire neighborhood used to be single-family homes. Now this is the only single-family property left, and they want to convert it for condominiums, as we heard at the presentation. The development would actually blend in with the surrounding structures. And it's just ironic that it's spot zoning when it was the original zoning. But we've heard nothing. The developer property owner did not return my call. The consultant said that she's heard nothing about further. The next step would be either the Diamond Head Special District permitting hearing and the special management area hearing. I'm not sure if that applies, but I know that it's in the Diamond Head core area, so that would apply.
Okay, thank you. And I think also Chair Waters' staff has been dealing with some folks who found the original owners of the street, and that they're looking into, I guess, condemning it and making it a public street. And maybe Chair Waters' office can talk about that.
Yes, we need to hear from him on that, because there was quite an uproar at one time with that person who claimed title to the street, and there's clouded title. So, but the understanding now is there is resident concern about parking issues, but the Beaky Bike Station takes up a lot of that parking. So let's look at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public concerns, open forum, in person or online?
I have a comment.
I see Bruce. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right time to talk about this, but my thing is about the elevated crosswalks, the raised crosswalks. I think our board should be pushing for more streets to have those raised crosswalks because it really helps slow traffic down. I just drove down Pensacola today, right in front of McKinley High School, and they have several raised crosswalks along the way by McKinley High School, and it really has slowed traffic down. And so I think as our board, we should actually be pushing for raised crosswalks on Diamond Head and all the areas in our neighborhood that where it would really slow traffic down and save lives.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, it's a point well taken. And we've been working with DTS for a long time, and there's some terrible accidents right in front of Diamond Head Road, which seems like a no-brainer, but we've struggled to get some resolution on that. They're studying it, yes, and I think there's some progress, but yeah. Yes, Ms. Matson.
The raised crosswalks would be very important along Diamond Head Road, but there are no pedestrians at night when a lot of these accidents happen, running into telephone poles, drunk driving, and that sort of thing. So a combination of raised crosswalks, speed humps for those speeders late at night, and important stop signs, just strategically placed stop signs Immokalee Place, and perhaps one other location. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just would want to say that I've talked with the chair of the Kahala Neighborhood Board about us working with them and Kaimuki about sort of a Diamond Head wide traffic safety corridor plan, which would, you know, emphasize the mayor's, you know, edict to drive or message to drive with Aloha to enforce driving with Aloha.
I also believe that enforcement at night by the police would go a long way. If people started getting high cost traffic tickets along that corridor, the word would get out, and that might also be a deterrent.
Hopefully these will make the meeting messages. And with that, if we don't see any more, I will move on then to the city and county reports. The mayor's representative, Mr. Krucky, is not here tonight, but he did send this. So bear with me as I read down, because he has addressed, as he normally does, a number of issues that were brought up. The mayor's newsletter, which I think is in the Google Drive, isn't it, Curtis? It was basically, it's all in the Google Drive. So he signed into law about street festivals and outdoor in Waikiki and outdoor dining rules. Recreational fishing comes back to Ho'omaluhia, and there's new solar at Blaisdell Center. And then there's a Malama Aina Day at Kahuku Point on the North Shore, and the rest of it's online. And there's a new assisted community treatment for Oahu's homeless community. Going on, he says, get ready to register for summer fun at the city parks. So it's for Keiki to Kupuna. Summer fun registration will begin May 12th through the 16th, and enrichment class signups from the 15th to the 19th, depending on where your program is located. Enrollment will be primarily online through pros.honolulu.info. I'm sorry, hnl.info, pros.hnl.info. Although walk-in accommodations are available. The summer fun sites are also online, and they're looking for workers. So if you want to help, especially with the kids, you can go for summer fun jobs. There's a park locator as well to find out where your district park is. Moving on, then, as I mentioned, the board elections are taking place right now through May 16th. Voters should receive a mailer containing a passcode and a PIN, allowing you to vote online, or call the NCO office at honolulu.gov/NCO. If you didn't get one, they may have just, maybe you didn't register, and I don't know if you're allowed to register like right now. And Curtis says no. Okay, so it's not like a regular voting where you can walk in. But if you think that you're in an area where you'd be able to vote, like in St. Louis Heights, and you didn't get a piece of paper, then call the NCO office. It could have gotten lost in the mail. For the other districts here down in Kapiolani Park and Kapahulu, the elections were essentially uncontested, or we had just a number where we wouldn't have to have had elections. So we will not get a paper ballot in our areas if you're in subdistrict 2 or is it 2 or 3? Yes. Okay. Thank you. We have, see, some department issues follow-up. So homeless encampments on Kapahulu, a request was made for the city to conduct a sweep and clean up the area along the Alawai Golf Course entrance, and a request for the Honu program to come by. Department of Community Services says that in April, DFM conducted weekly SPO activities. What's SPO, Curtis? Do you know? Like a cleanup activity? Oh, stored property ordinance activities on April 15th and April 24th and April 29th in areas that front the golf course. They will continue to clean the area and offer outreach services and enforce park rules in order to stifle homeless encampments. The HONU programs continuously evaluated. We consider the potential demand for services in the area and historical effectiveness, as well as community input, as some of the factors before deciding on its move. The plot of land at the entrance to the golf course, where we just got that awful base yard removed, says if the city has any plans to beautify or use the empty plot of land, a request was made for HONU services to sweep the area and relocate homeless individuals. DPR says they have no future plans for the empty plot of land, which would be an excellent place for a dog park. And actually the Parks Department, okay, this is me, this is not Anton. The Parks Department did say they're looking for many more locations to have dog parks everywhere. And if we can have a dedicated dog park that's not in the parks, that's what they're looking for right now. So this is the perfect area because half the people have dogs and we have like 7 dog parks on this island, or it's not a lot more than that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
point of
ma'am.
order, are you advocating?
Strongly,
Okay, there may be differences of opinion.
there may be.
Thank you.
And that can be in the community meeting that we have for parks. Let's see. She says DFM has an SPO enforcement teams working on a day-by-day basis to access and use public properties, including sidewalks, so that the public can use them. And that a lot of the times these homeless encampments are entrenched and under property remains. Can report concerns to DPR to work with DFM. And an event happened on March 18th, another one April 1st, and another one on March 28th in the Diamond Head area. I think this is just ongoing stuff all the time. DCS, most of our homeless in the metropolitan areas are managed by case managers from the Institute of Human Services. When located, they receive multiple alternatives for shelter, not only in the IAHS network, but options for medical care from the CORE, CORE, Ala Respite, North Shore Mental Health near Leahi Hospital, and the emergency shelter, the Honu in Kapolei. The Honu program is continuously evaluated as to locations and input before we decide on its move. Update on the city's positions regarding Kualei Cliffs. The Kualei Cliffs nonprofit has been removing invasive trees and beautifying the Diamond Head Cliff area. Homeless encampments along the edge of Kualei Cliffs and the beach below it have health hazards, trash, and danger to people living on the cliffs. What is the city's position on addressing these issues? I think the answer to that is DFM, Stored Property Ordinance. Branch provides property support when requested from Parks and Rec, and will continue to support DPR and HPD and enforcement and cleanup of Kualei Cliffs and the beach below it in removal and storage of personal property being stored on city property. The next enforcement is scheduled to be conducted March 28th. That's already happened. DPR, answer was DPR and city staff will meet to discuss future management plans for the area. DPR will work with groups to address lingering issues in the area and actively promote stewardship provided by the group. DCS says DCS Homeless Solutions Team had started a series of events to break the habits of those who insist on living on the Diamond Head Crater to its shoreline. We also recognize other dangers to the current situation, including wildfire risks, public health and public safety concerns. The latest activity had cleared the encampments on both city and state sides of Diamond Head Road and removed the garbage that day on April 25th. These activities will be implemented, assessed, and then repeated until we change the current situation. I think a lot of us could read about it in a newspaper or see it online. Number 4, Kaimana Beach shower buttons and drain. Our board member Arlene Velasco requested for the Kaimana Beach shower drain to be redesigned or replaced because of maintenance staff raised concerns to her about the drain clogging and the amount of water they use to keep algae from forming, which creates a slippery area. A request was also made to reinstall missing shower buttons. DPR's answer was the shower buttons were replaced on April 24th. By DPR staff. At this current time, there's no plans on redesign for the shower drain. DPR will consider the request in future planning. The shower pads are pressure washed and the excess sand is removed twice a month. DPR staff will continue to monitor the shower. Refuse bin request. Chair Welch, raised concerns about DPR about response to a trash bin request for the community garden, and I asked DPR to consider revising the garden programs and rules to allow for environmental services trucks to pick up green waste and trash in community gardens. I also commented that the neighborhood residents and Kapahulu Park users could be dumping trash at the gardens, which creates safety and sanitary issues. DPR says that their rules and regulations require gardeners to manage and dispose of trash from their individual plots. And as community gardens are located on a variety of land parcels, this rule ensures that gardeners are responsible for their refuse and our gardens are kept clean and safe. The rule does not prevent a community garden from receiving refuse collection if feasible and according to the county's refuse collection provisions. However, gardeners would remain responsible for moving trash from their plots and disposing of it properly. As a point of clarification, the Diamond Head Community Garden is currently manually serviced by ENB twice a week. This is a unique case as the garden is located on a former residential property and benefits from being along a residential refuse collection route. Most other programs are not located are located in park settings and do not receive the service. So, Chair Welch also asked about for MOCA to present and work with the Diamond Head Neighborhood Board and Honolulu City Council Kapiolani Park trustees as they move forward with the Wahipana art installation. MOCA answered updates on the Wahipana project have been presented at the last neighborhood board meeting on April 10th, and MOCA acting director Marian Kadora has emailed the Kapiolani Park Trust but is awaiting a response. She will reach out to Chair Welch to coordinate a meeting. Hang on just a second. And we'll finish all of them if you can remember. Erosion along Diamond Head coastline. Arlene Velasco asked what the city is doing to address erosion along the Diamond Head coastline and if the foundation of the condos in the area is being undermined. Office of Climate Change Sustainability and Resilience says, mahalo for your inquiry about beach erosion along the Diamond Head coastline. Coastal erosion is increasingly important, and 70% of the beaches on Oahu are in a state of chronic erosion. They cite Chip Fletcher in 2012. Further, an estimated 3,800 plus structures are located within the 3.2 sea level rise exposure, as according to the State of Hawaii 2017. Adapting to the impacts of sea level rise and coastal erosion require long-term regional and collaborative solutions. As you know, the shoreline is a complex intersection of jurisdictions with state ownership and jurisdiction Makai of the highest wash of waves. City jurisdiction and private ownership Mauka of the highest wash of waves. The city is committed to supporting property owners in doing necessary repair and maintenance as allowed by ROH chapters 25 and 26. So let's see, there's one more page, a couple more here. For more information about the city's approach to adapting to sea level rise, please visit the city's climate adaptation strategy, Climate Ready Oahu, specifically Strategy 5. Strengthen climate resilience of beaches and wetland ecosystems through preservation and restoration, and Strategy 11, reduce flood risk and coastal erosion by directing development to safer and higher ground. But they're already there. The city's Office of Climate Change, Sustainability and Resilience does not perform coastal property inspections. You may wish to contact the State Office of Conservation and Coastal Lands, which is responsible for overseeing beach and marine lands out to the seaward extent of the state's jurisdiction, which is dlnr.hawaii.gov/OCCL/. And hold on to that thought, Arlene. We'll get to it in a second. Number 8, road repaving request. A request was made to repave the roadway from the freeway exit 25 King Street along 2700 Alawai Avenue and 2885 South King Street. DTS says, please refer this to the State Department of Transportation as it's not under our city jurisdiction. Okay. The bus exterior display. Residents raised concern about the blue and green color font of the exterior LCD display on city buses. Resident requested the bus use a white font to display the route number so the visibility of the information is clear, and asked DTS to share the findings of their evaluation of the bus's colored head signs. DTS on May 6th said, the bus colored headlines were modified to display all white colored font on a black background. This should help with clarity and visibility of the head signs. So thank you to Daisy for bringing that up. Number 10, outdoor dining services program. A resident raised concerns about outdoor dining and businesses complying with ADA. The resident asked if businesses are required to give wheelchair users 45 inches to pass on the sidewalk. DTS says that any businesses participating in the outdoor dining program must comply with all the ADA. Before a permit is issued, they're required to submit drawings on where the tables and chairs will be placed on the sidewalk and show that there is a minimum of 36 inches clearance. complaints or violations can be reported to the Commercial Enforcement Branch of the Department of Planning and Permitting at 808-768-8152. Next is pedestrian safety. Board member Velasco raised concerns about accidents involving pedestrians and asked what the city is doing to improve pedestrian safety. DTS says the city has been implementing pedestrian safety improvements in accordance with the Oahu Pedestrian Plan and Oahu Vision Zero Action Plan. Recent improvements in Neighborhood Board 5 include a pedestrian crossing island at Kapahulu Avenue and Charles Street, which must be right where the donut shop is, or where it is, yeah. Not donuts, malasadas, and a quick build curb extension at Date Street and Palani. DTS will be implementing quick build pedestrian crossing island at Wailai and 4th Avenue, which is, I think, up by Longs, or is that one? Where? Oh, where the red elephant. Oh, okay. Thank you. Within the calendar year. So that's pretty long. The city is planning for complete streets improvement as part of a roadway repaving on Dole Street between St. Louis Drive and University Avenue, consistent with Bill 44. The city is also considering speed limit reductions, including on Date Street. The city was also recently awarded a federal grant for pedestrian safety that will include improvements to the uncontrolled pedestrian crossings on Kapahulu Avenue. An exhaustive list of pedestrian safety projects in various phases of development can be found in the Complete Streets Fiscal Year 2024 Progress Report at, then it lists the site. So I would just go to Complete Streets there and look for a progress report, but it's www.8.honolulu.gov/complete streets/wp-content/37/2025/3/FY24-CS-annual-report.pdf. So it's a word mouthful. So call DTS if you have a question about that. Former pedestrian crossings. Can DTS install barriers or signs with a fine amount to prevent pedestrians from jaywalking at former pedestrian crossings, including the crosswalks on Kapahulu at Charles Street and Kanaina Avenue? DTS says they have completed an investigation of the board's request to install physical barriers or signage, including signs displaying fine amounts to deter pedestrians from crossing at the former crosswalks on Kapahulu at Charles and Kanaina Avenue. The city does not install physical barriers at intersections to prevent pedestrian crossings. At the intersection of Kapahulu and Charles Street, the marked crosswalk has been removed. While the city recommends pedestrians use the marked crosswalk by Leonard's Bakery, the Mauka side of Charles Street intersection still qualifies as a legal unmarked crosswalk under state law. Therefore, signage restricting pedestrian crossing will not be posted at this location. At the intersection of Kapahulu Avenue and Kanaina, no pedestrian crossing signs are currently in place. The DTS only uses signage approved by the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, which is the national standard established by the Federal Highways Administrator. Signage that display fine amounts that are not included, as such, the requested signage will not be installed. A review of the traffic collision history within the past 3 years did not indicate any condition, trends, or unusual circumstances which would necessitate the installation of additional traffic control devices at Kapahulu, at Charles Street, and Kanaina Avenue. Finally, we have enforcement of bicycle and pedestrian laws. Of residents raised concern about a lack of enforcement for bicyclists and pedestrians who break the law. HPD District 7 conducted an e-bike and pedestrian enforcement operation from March 12th to April 26th, resulting in 59 pedestrian warnings, 73 pedestrian citations, 62 e-bike/bicycle warnings, and 93 e-bike/bicycle citations. So they were doing something. And sorry, that was a lot. I was actually going to have one of you read that, but I forgot. So do we have any comments or questions that we want to write down in response to all those for Anton?
Well, I do have a comment and a question. The areas that I was specifically asking about, the address is 3065 Kalakaua Avenue. The building is called Seabreeze. You can actually see what appears to be the foundation being hit by the waves during normal tides and then really hard during high tides. I'm very concerned about that building. And my question is, if that building collapses, who is responsible? Is it the owners? Is it the state? Who's going to be responsible for probably the lawsuits if there's loss of life and for the damage that would happen to the marine life and the coral and everything else that's there in front of the building?
It's a great question. And I will forward this email. I just got it late today, and I'll put it in our drive. Thank you. And yeah, I think this stuff needs to be hashed out. We got a lot of issues that, until it happens, really good questions. Other comments about Mr. Bucky? Yes.
Hi, this is
Angie.
Angie. I just wanted to make a comment about the homeless sweeps and enforcement and all that stuff that's going on at Diamond Head. This is coming from someone who works at IHS, by the way. Just to say that the outreach team has been going there weekly, and they've been going, I don't want to say which day in case it does change, but they have been going every week to assess and also to canvass the area and talk to the different individuals who are staying up there. And so they were part of enforcement with the city and the state, and they will continue to be looking in that area. But it's also one of those things where we can offer services, but it's up to the individual if they so choose to come with us and if they so choose to be ready. And so just to say that they have been making the efforts, they have been talking to different individuals. And for instance, someone who did come off from that area a few weeks ago, they've been working with since October. So just to say, it does take time. There are efforts going in, and I do want to emphasize too what Director Crocky was saying in there, that it is a combined effort of different people because it is multiple jurisdictions, and we have to do this in a way that, treats people as humans and with dignity, but also recognizing the risk to the immediate community and to themselves.
Thank you, Angie. Other questions or comments about Director Crucky's report?
I just wanted to thank them also, thank the director for all the work that did go on during that week-long, really intensive effort to help the homeless and help the neighborhood. It was really appreciated.
These are obviously really entrenched, complex problems, like Angie's saying. When I read, what was it, that one couple's lived there for 30 years and have 8 dogs. So how do you, I don't even know how many dogs are allowed in a household in the city, but they don't want to give up their dogs. Yes, ma'am. 5. Okay. So are there other comments online or in person? Bruce, go ahead. Bruce, you're on mute. You're on mute, Bruce. Maybe hold your space bar.
Okay, I got it.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, the comments were a lot about building islands, like in front of Leonard's Bakery, instead of putting an not elevated, but a raised crosswalk, and then monitoring with traffic lights or speed lights. But to me, what is the most expensive way to do it? And to me, the most expensive way is to build these islands. And so it would be so much cheaper just to build these raised crosswalks all along down Kapahulu Avenue. Even where crosswalks used to exist, put in those raised crosswalks, and that will slow traffic down and create a safe place for people to cross Kapahulu Avenue or any of our streets. But so my question for Mr. Crocky is, what is the cost of creating an island, putting in a light, as opposed to installing a raised crosswalk? It makes more sense to me to put in raised crosswalks.
Thank you,
That's
Bruce.
my comments to him. And my question to him is, what is the cost between the two?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I also had a comment. I have brought up for many months that front of Leonard's, it's not painted. and you can see that cars have hit it really hard and taken chunks out of the concrete because they can't see it, and especially at night or in the rain. It's just there's a I don't know, like a temporary little floppy thing on there that's you're supposed to figure out. There's a chunk of concrete that you're going to hit, but it needs to be painted yellow or something.
Yeah, and there's an island right on 6th Avenue and Kaimiki Avenue where the intersection where they cross. And they have signs, and I just saw that one of the signs was just run over by another car. Must have been last night sometime, I don't know. But you know, but an elevated raised crosswalks would work because everybody would have to slow down. And those islands, people run into it all the time. You go look on 6th Avenue and Kamiki Avenue.
100%. That's why they'd stop planting things there and just put
Yeah.
in the fake grass because it's always run over.
Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
I have two comments.
Go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, I may have missed it, but I didn't hear the urgent matter regarding Diamond Head Road traffic and pedestrian safety in the mayor's representative's report.
And I didn't see any, so.
Well, at this point, we need to make a serious request that that be addressed by the mayor's office. And also that the DTS director be present at our next meeting to fill us in on the status of this urgent matter. Because it seems to be languishing in limbo, and this is a matter of life and death. Secondly, regarding Wahid Pana, the poetry signs that this nonprofit wants to erect in every park, city park. Regarding Kapilani Park, the trust was established in 1896 per court order. The court designated the city council members as trustees, separate and distinct from their city council roles. They must abide by the historic nature and designation of Kapilani Park. And there's a question about whether it is the trustees that will be addressing this or Kapilani Park Preservation Society. I know you mentioned them as the first entity. Kapilani Park Preservation Society is a nonprofit organization that has advocated for the historic preservation of the park. They testify before the trustees and provide information. And I think that distinction needs to be made because the trustees have an important role and they are elected. So there's a turnover, so not any one person decides to be king. And it is the king's park, but it belonged to the king, real king. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And do you know the last time that the park trustees met as trustees? They're supposed to meet every year, aren't they?
I believe it's usually for the triennial report. Department of Parks makes a report on the status and the condition of Kapilani Park, also the expenses, various costs incurred for events and other things. It's usually in June, but the trustees can call a meeting anytime. So perhaps our council member Tommy Waters could address this as to when they will be considering these signs on trust land. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And are there any other comments about Director Crookey's report, which I read? And again, I will stick that in Google Drive. So you'll have access to those very long URLs in some cases. If there are none, then we will move on to Chair Waters. I don't know if someone, Adam, you are here, Adam. Go ahead, Adam.
Chair, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great, thank you. Adam Du from Council Chair Tommy Waters' office. Wow, Director Crookey really gives a thorough report even when he's not there. It's quite impressive. I believe he is currently with the city's homeless coordinator visiting another county right now to see how they are solving their homeless situation. There's some discussion on your letter from DPR regarding your the dogs in parks. I would like to make the suggestion that the board reaches out to Nathan Sorota, the information specialist from DPR. He'd be more than happy to speak with the board or your subcommittee. His email address is in the letter that was sent to the board. I believe DPR is asking for a resolution of some sort by the end of August. So it'd be good to get on that. Next, I'm so sorry. I realized that I didn't email out Chair Waters' newsletter to you guys. So I still will do that, but I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to show you guys the council website, Tommy's website, Chair Waters' website, and also how to pull up our newsletter online. So if it's okay, Chair, I will share my screen.
Think you do that easily?
I think so. Can you guys see me okay? Here we go. Can you see my can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
Great. So there's the city council's website. There's tons of good information on here. I just want to show you guys a few things briefly. Let's see. Under our council, if you go down here to Lawmaking 101, we have a lot of good information here. For example, if you scroll down, whoops, we'll talk about ordinances and bills, the jurisdiction of and balance of power between the legislative branch, which is the city council, our policymaking branch, and the executive branch, which is the mayor and the departments, FAQs, and yeah, how does a bill become an ordinance? And what's the difference between a bill and a resolution? That's pretty cool. Going back to the landing page, you know, you'll often hear us talk about legislation that's being proposed as a bill. You can click here to find legislation. You can put in a keyword such as, let's just type in plastic. And right here, there's our plastic water bottle ban in city vending machines. So as you can see here, it was Bill 18, 2025, excuse me, and it was signed into ordinance. This is also where you can see the bill's status and also, excuse me, read all of the testimony that was submitted. To submit testimony, you can go to this button over here. Select your meeting. Let's choose the full council meeting next week, Wednesday. And let's pick one. How about Climate Resiliency Fund? I know this board is extra, cares a lot about the environment. So this bill is using the Climate Resiliency Fund and using some of that money for a grant program for the cesspool conversion. Here you can read the bill. Going back. So there's many ways to submit testimony besides just written testimony. If you scroll down here and submit testimony, so testimony can be given orally, written, you can also do it virtually or by phone. It can be a little confusing if you haven't done it anymore. So here's a great step-by-step of how to do each one of those. And next, I'll take you to Chair Waters' page. So if you just scroll back down on the City Council's webpage, here we have our council members. You can see also Council Member Scott Nishimoto. Shout out to Kylie. I think I see her online from Councilmember Nishimoto's office. I hope you guys are nice to her. She's a great resource to you guys. She's awesome. Okay, so Chair Waters page. You just scroll down here and see some things what we're up to. So here's our newsletters. If you ever want to refer back to an old newsletter, it's right here, but we'll go to 2025 May. Okay. I believe at the last board meeting, Chair Waters talked about Bill 60 and the proposed sewer increase over the next 10 years, 100% increase. So this talks about how Chair Waters is trying to think outside of the box of how to pay for this besides this large proposed 9% increase every year. Right now, he's looking to take the long vacant positions. These are positions that have been vacant for over 3 years, and using that money to pay for the sewer increase for this year. I'm also looking at the TAT funds, that's the hotel tax that we put on our tourists to put that towards the sewer fees this year as well. Some measures that were passed in April. Bill 18 is a great one. That would prohibit the sale of plastic bottles, such as water bottles, in city vending machines. We had a lot of appointments and confirmations the past couple of months. We have some wonderful teachers in our district. This article here, this talks about the city charter. So the city charter is essentially the city's constitution. So the charter commission meets every 10 years. There are 13 members, which are appointed by the city council and the mayor. And the city charter, the charter commission makes amendments that the voters, you guys, get to vote on next year. This talks a little bit about Bill 24. I believe Chair Waters talked about that last time. Protecting overdevelopment in Kapahulu, Kahala, Kanuki. Keeping Kapahulu. These are some great phone numbers. I'm so sorry, Kylie and Councilmember Nishimoto's office pointed out that I had a couple of numbers that are incorrect. So I'll be sure to get that updated for our next newsletter. And lastly, if you guys don't already use the Honolulu 311 app, certainly coming to the neighborhood board and bringing it to the attention to the council members and your mayor's representative, Mr. Crucky, Director Crucky. The Honolulu 311 app is a great alternative. It's free. You can take a picture of, say, it's a sidewalk crack. It will geotag it and it will go directly to the department. You will get also a updates and of its standing. And so if it's a more sensitive issue, you can also choose to submit it anonymously. And then lastly, I can give a little update on the enforcement, the Diamond Heads enforcements. Chair Waters did have a debrief with Director Crucky and the city's new homeless coordinator, Mr. Roy Mirahira. I won't go into too much detail because uh, Director Crucky can give a much better report than I can. But I do want to state that the city is having a different approach when it comes to Diamond Head. It's a zero tolerance message that they're giving to the houseless that are living on the cliffs, as it poses a danger to themselves as well as to the community. As you guys heard, it was a very, very large operation with over 75 participants. It's 20 from HPD, 7 from the Sheriff's Office, 15 from DLNR and DoCare, 12 core employees, and I believe 8 IHS employees. Thank you, Angie. There's also very service outreach service minded too. So with IHS, there's also 6 Leahi behavioral and medical respite representatives, 2 Department of Community Services, 2 from Teamwork Hawaii, and 1 from Honu. I believe there was 16 houseless that opted for services, and 6 were transported to IHS. One of the houseless individuals who did accept services was a pregnant woman. So I believe we really helped her and her child a lot. It was very touching. At Triangle Park, they also provided meals and a hot shower. And they also connected 10 houseless individuals with phone service providers. 2.26 tons of garbage or waste was removed from the Diamond Head Cliffs, as well as 7 shopping carts. And then while we are on Diamond Head, I can give a little update, not really much of an update, but regarding Diamond Head Road. So I was there for the initial walkthrough with the community and DTS and their lead engineers over a year ago. So thank you so much to the board and all the neighborhood community members who participated in this. This really was a big feat to get this accomplished. So DTS is finalizing the plans for the speed humps near Coconut Avenue. They're also working on the design for the appropriate speed hump signs. All-way stops were found not warranted at the intersection of Diamond Head and Coconut Avenue. However, they did complete its all-way stop study for the intersection of Diamond Head and Makalei Place. Again, they're completing their design layout for that. Let's see. So once all of this is finalized, DTS will be sending a letter to the neighborhood board as well as the council member to inform them of all the new traffic controls. Then it will also, DTS will also need to put out a notice to motorists of the new traffic controls to the newspaper. So all of this takes time, you know. So the city is getting assistance from the State Department of Transportation for these speed humps. They're actually much more expensive than you would think they are. They're hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's much more than just paving over the existing pavement. They actually have to dig it up. And that's after all of the studies that they have to do. So HDOT just installed their speed hump in Kapahulu Elementary School. And there's about 10 other elementary school locations, or not all elementary schools, I take that back, sorry. 10 other school locations that the Hawaii Department of Transportation is looking to do next. And the Diamond Head Road has been put on that list. Certainly the always stop though is something that they can implement sooner than later. I think they're just finalizing those plans for the lines and the signage. I assure you, it's a lot more complicated than it seems. There's a lot of federal standards that have to be met, but certainly they do agree with the neighborhood board and the community that this is a very important corridor that needs to be addressed. They thank you for your patience, and I will try my best to get a clearer timeline from DTS for the next board meeting. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Adam. Questions for Adam, madam?
Yes, this is Arlene. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Arlene.
I had a neighbor ask me on my walk this morning if I had an update on the buckets of human waste that were left behind on Diamond Head after the cleanup. They were told that the buckets were still there. Can you please find out if that's been taken care of?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you so much. So I'll follow up on that. I did want to point out, so just like Angie said, the service providers will be coming out more frequently. Same with these enforcements. They'll be coming, you can expect them about once a month. You know, previously, I think the board only saw enforcements happening every few months, maybe actually only biannually, but these will happen a lot more. Also, for concerns like those waste buckets, please don't hesitate to contact our office before the neighborhood board. And I can hopefully get that fixed, and at the board meeting, I could share the good news with the action that we were able to take. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions for Councilmember Waters' office? Yes, Madam Matson.
Thank you, Chair Welch. Thank you, Adam. Really appreciate your detailed report. I'm just wondering how familiar Councilmember Waters is with Diamond Head Scenic Road, a designated state scenic byway, because speed humps at Coconut Avenue, and we've met with DTS, that location is not the only location that will create safer conditions with speed humps. You have a blind turn, and that is where, as approaching that blind turn, that's where a lot of these crashes happen. Coming from the Kahala side to Makalei Place and Coconut Avenue around the blind bend across from Makalei Beach Park. What we need is intermittent speed humps in this speed zone. And that wouldn't be only Coconut Avenue. You may need one or two more across from the beach parks before the blind turn, or maybe one near the lookouts, but that's a wider stretch, so maybe not. I'm surprised that DTS is just limiting their scope of this very dangerous situation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Member Matson. So from my understanding with our talks with DTS as well as our site visit, you cannot put a speed hump on a decline or incline. As you can imagine, cars could go flying off of that. So there's a percentage grade that it can't be put on. That's a federal guideline that must be followed, as well as putting a speed bump or a speed hump on a blind curve. That could also be a bit of an issue. But there's other ways that speed mitigation measures that can be utilized to slow down vehicles, such as narrowing of the street. You know, if a road is very wide, people feel safer and tend to speed up. But we haven't been presented the plans yet. The council member hasn't, nor has the neighborhood board and neighborhood. So I don't know if the area that you're discussing is included, but certainly I'll give DTS and Kelly a heads up to make sure that they are considering that area.
Thank you, Adam. And maybe we can schedule a meeting with DTS again as a follow-up for the community to understand exactly what those plans are. And Arlene, you had a question? Or you already did? Okay. Are there other questions or comments for?
I just want to mention that I really appreciate Adam's reference to other remedies. We certainly need to know what the options are. We know that the speed humps can't be placed on a blind curve or bend. And the downhill consideration, of course, would be important. But there must be other remedies to slow down these midnight speeders because they're not only crashing into telephone poles, they're crashing into private properties and parks. So we really need some communication from the DTS director, and we've asked that he be present at the next meeting. Perhaps we'll have a separate line item for him. That would help encourage him. Thank you.
Yeah. So there's things such as delineators or pave markers. However, many communities find those not very sightly. So I know that is also, of course, safety is always priority, but I do know the Diamond Head views along that beautiful drive is also something that needs to be taken into consideration. But maybe such things as pavement markings is something that can be done.
Thank you, Adam. And thank you for coming tonight. If there's no other questions for Chair Waters' office, we will move
I have a
on
question.
to, Bruce, go ahead.
Yeah, it was mentioned that the cost of a speed hump is very costly because you have to dig into the existing pavement. But again, what are the numbers? I want to know the numbers between the cost of putting in that elevated raised crosswalk as opposed to putting in medials, concrete medials. And so we need to know the numbers so that we can, as a community, figure it out. Because, and as far as on a decline road, the elevated speed humps work on Poly Highway, and that's on a decline. So that's my comment.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Wong. Certainly, I'll work with Director Crucky on getting the neighborhood board these cost estimates. But certainly to know that if it's a matter of cost, Chair Waters would be more than happy to include that in the city's budget. That's cost would not, for something like a project like that, that would not be something that would hold this back. But I'll do my best to get those estimates for you and the board. Thank you.
And Noella?
Oh, hi. Thank you. This is a very important subject. I live on this road, and in the last, I think about 12 or 13 days, we've had two incidences along the right in front of Makalei going, ascending the hill towards the lighthouse. And it's last year we had that car full of teenagers that ended up in the telephone pole, and it's a situation that is slowly getting very out of hand because there is no traffic calming measures. We all talk about it, we all give suggestions, yet no one is actually solving the problem. In terms of Mr. The assistant to Mr. Waters, Mr. Du, you're right about the measurements and the incline, the decline, the road, but straight out in front right there, there's a flat land. And it's right in front of Muckley Beach Park. And you can argue that it would be a good thing. But long story short, it is getting out of hand. And then we've got the big pedestrian electric bike moped situation going on with the Makalei Beach Park. There's a variety of issues going on here, and we cannot solve them all. But I commend Miss Matson. She's, we're all raising the alarm at this point because I live right here, and I don't know what I'm going to wake up to a little later on tonight because the sounds of boom and people screaming and stuff, that is it's getting pretty heavy around here. With all due respect, I have to say that thank you all for allowing me to speak my piece, because I don't think the Kingdom of Hawaii, the Ali'i, would want something like this going on up here. It's Leahi, so thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Noella. So I do believe one even better than a speed hump, possibly is an always stop. That will go at the intersection of Makalei Place and Diamond Head Road. We also, if you're not on we have an email chain for residents that are living in that community. I can get you on there if you send me an email or Chair Waters. I can get you in the loop on that, because we do definitely want to hear of course from the whole neighborhood, but also from the residents that live directly there, because there are some side effects that happen from speed humps, such as cars do make a noise when they go over the speed hump. They bottom out, and then right after the speed hump, the car accelerates to make up for that time. So there's some noise considerations that goes into these speed mitigation measures. Thank you.
And I see Kevin Lai, you got a question or comment for Councilmember Waters? Adam Du?
Chair, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. Rather than broaching this at item 11E about the neighbor board elections on your agenda, I thought I would relate this to the fact that the City Council has oversight over the Neighborhood Commission and appointment of almost half of the 9 neighborhood commissioners. To that end, I wanted to ask Adam if he's willing to ask Chair Waters to investigate why the current neighborhood board elections that are contested, namely they are requiring people to access a website and log in and vote, are being presented with ballots that are not following the neighborhood plan. This is an issue that's been raised to the commissioner, the chair of the neighborhood commission, and to the neighborhood commission office with no direct reply. And as you can imagine, we would hope that the elections, even if we're not running, if we're not incumbents, or if we are just residents anywhere on the island, we want the elections process to be run properly and as expected. And when it does not, it really detracts from the belief that we can have in this as a system. I'll be posting some a message for testimony about this item into the chat and to the email addresses available for the current board members, so they can again attempt to ask of the neighborhood commission what can be done about this. But it is an issue, and I ask that you ask Chair Waters to investigate that. I'd be happy to follow up with you about the details. Thank you for the chance to speak, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lai.
You.
I'll certainly ask Chair Waters, and then if we can connect offline, maybe tomorrow, 'cause I do want to make sure that I get this accurately. So if you could, I believe I can get your email. I'll shoot you an email tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Lai. It's there's been irregularities for the last many neighborhood board elections, and this really needs to be straightened out and run by there's got to be a different city department that can take care of this, but it's not an isolated incident. So we appreciate you coming tonight. And with that, we will move on to Scott Nishimoto's office. I think said we have Kylie here.
Hello, yes, can you hear me, Chair?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. First off, just wanted to thank Adam from Chair Waters' office for that detailed overview of the council website. It's a great resource. There's lots of great info on there. You can also contact us through our website as well. Just really quickly wanted to encourage you all to sign up for Councilmember Nishimoto's weekly e-blasts. As always, I'll leave that information in the chat. And if there's any questions, concerns, requests for the St. Louis Heights neighborhood, please feel free to ask me. I'm happy to pass it on to Councilmember. And I'll also leave our contact info in the chat as well. Please feel free to email or call our office. Thank you.
Thank you, Kylie. And can you tell us who else is on your staff that you're working with?
On our staff, sorry.
Right.
Yeah, so we have, I'll mainly be covering St. Louis Heights events and this board, but we also have our Chief of Staff, Taylor Date, our Senior Policy Advisor, Heath Williams, and we also have a community liaison, Sophia Anderson. I can also put their info in the chat as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and sharp eye for catching those mistakes, what Adam had put up. I know it's hard to keep on track on all those numbers. Are there questions for Councilmember Nishimoto's office and Kylie? Seeing none and none online, we appreciate you coming and welcome to our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Probably these folks are not going to be here, but it would be great to hear from Ed Case's office, Brian Schott's office, or Maisie Hirono's office. Any of those folks here? I think, I don't know if did Ed Case send his message to you? Okay, I'll ask him to put that in there. He's actually, sent out a good newsletter this time. I don't get one from Maisie or Brian Schott, so it'd be good for us to get those. The governor's rep, Ryan Aguilar, are you here today? He says on. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I would like to mention that I did attend a town hall meeting with Brian Schatz today, and it was very informative. And he suggested that if anybody in the community has any questions, to email him with the question, and he'll promise to answer. And I was very thankful that I was able to listen in and answer. He said he had over, I think, 26,000 people on the call. So it was a great thing.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, and Mr. Aguilar.
Hi, thank you, Chair. Thank you, board members. I will put the governor's latest newsletter in the chat, link to that. There's also a few questions from the previous meeting that I'll put in there as well. There was one question about federal funding cuts on different state programs. So there's an answer for that one. There's a question about the South Shore of Oahu and a task force about the sinking of the South Shore. And then there's a question about deportations and that possibility. And so that information I will place in the chat now. And if there are any questions that I can take back to the governor's communications team, I'm happy to do that.
Are there questions for the governor's office?
Yes.
Ms. Velasco, go ahead.
I just drove to the mayor's town hall over to Kahuku Point last week, and on the way, it's truly appalling what's happening to that highway along the coast there. So my question is, what does the state have a plan for rerouting Kamehameha Highway from Kahului to Kahuku? Because at some point, that people, if they could become isolated, and I was wondering if that's on the long-term plan or the short-term plan for the state.
Okay, thank you. And are there questions for the governor's representative? I see Daisy.
Oh, thanks, Chair. Thank you for attending the meeting. My question is that you are, I just noticed that there is on the newspaper that you are soliciting a food truck for Diamond Head Monument. The question is that allowed at a state park? State Monument. I thought that they might have some other concessions where you might have other commercial activities going, like baking stations or some other kiosks to sell other products. Because I thought that those things were not really allowed. Can you clarify if that is or not? Has the system changed? Because it seems to be more attracting more commercialism than trying to do a natural environment thing with the monument. And this is Hawaii. Thank you.
Thank you, Daisy.
Chair.
And Laura?
Chair, could I respond to Daisy's
Yeah.
comment?
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things you were going to give us some information about is federal funding. I've been volunteering at Central Union Church Food Bank for the last 3 years or so. And I asked one of the food bank people how much of the food is coming from federal funding. He said approximately 33%. So is that partially cut, all cut, and are we going to be able to make that up through some other donation in town?
Thank you, Laura. I know that Ryan's writing all this down. And Ms. Metzen, you had some clarification on the food trucks. Maybe that will help right here solve that or get to another point.
Yes, it appears that the state Division of State Parks has made an arbitrary effort to create a food truck centerpiece in the middle of the historic crater, which is a national and state historic monument. Actually, a national natural landmark and a state historic monument. There is the Diamond Head State Master Plan. And Daisy, thank you so much for bringing this up, because administration after administration has ignored the hard work and the specific implications of this master plan that was adopted by the state. Many of us worked on it collectively. A lot of research was done, historic research. In that plan, the Diamond Head Interpretive Center was the main feature. You would take a little tram, Kapahulu Tunnel, around to the various stops and the trail going up to the summit, and then come around near the Kahala Tunnel, where that interpretive center would be located. It would be comprised of cultural and geological displays. The geography of the formation of Diamond Head has a tough volcanic tuff cone, cultural, historic Hawaiian displays, cultural displays and events. It would give the entire monument a meaning for both residents and visitors that they're not aware of. However, nothing has been done. We've had chairpersons of the Department of Land and Natural Resources that have just shrugged it off because they have their own favorite projects. Currently, we've heard nothing from the current chairperson. She has her own agenda apparently, and we need to reactivate this with the governor's office, not through some department or division of a department. We need to speak with the governor about this very important plan and how it can be gradually implemented. A food truck centerpiece is a slap in the face, and we need help from the governor. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, Mr. Aguilar, I don't know if I think it's a law that there's the Citizens Advisory Committee for Diamond Head, which was meeting under a while ago, and it's just wasn't reconstituted because there was no one assigned to it. So if we could have the governor pull whatever strings he needs to have the Citizens Advisory Committee for Diamond Head State Monument reconstituted, I think that you would find willing participants, especially the Diamond Head State Monument Foundation has somewhat moved into that role out of desperation in a vacuum. Although, again, it is a nonprofit. It is not something that is a part of the government. So I think that's something that we need, that this falls under that. A separate comment that I had, or question that I had is, I emailed the governor, but it seems to go into a black hole. Is there any way that we can know that our emails have been received or acted upon? And also, is there a list of folks that we could get at the governor's office, like a policy director or community liaisons or something like that, where it breaks it down? Because there's no way to, people just don't answer the phone. It just goes to straight to voicemail. So I had a specific question that would have been just much more easily solved by going to the policy director or something like that. Is it possible to get a list of those folks, numbers that we could actually have access to and reach, that may not rise to the level of the governor, but certainly would be under his office?
Yes,
And
I
those
can,
are just,
yeah, I can look into that and try to get a list of contacts for you.
thank you. Okay, and I think we have a question from Laura Ruby.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to make a comment, and Michelle, if I'm incorrect in stating it, we just did not want a big basketball court, flat slab, impermeable surface stuck in the middle of the Diamond Head crater. That was a start, that we did not want any of that. And that seems to have, now it sounds like they're going ahead with that and not even considering things that we had suggested. Michelle, can you comment any more on that? Thanks.
Actually, I think we need to have the governor join a meeting and give us his insight as to what can be done. The slab surface is supposed to be temporary. They had the food, one food truck at the parking lot, and then they decided to make a facility out of it. So yes, I think, Laura, I know you know history of the area, and I think we would welcome a lot of community members as well as our board members and other boards to just chime in on this. There are contiguous boards to the monument. Thank you.
Thank you. And if there's any more questions for the governor's representative, I see Ms. Velasco.
Yes, I have one more. I just want to point out that I want to ask if the state has any plan for improving the water quality of the ocean along Kamehameha Highway from Kaneohe to Kahuku Point. I'd like to reference a lot of the water quality testing data that the Surfrider Foundation has done over the last 7 years for every other week. You can see the test results, and that whole entire East Coast is unfortunately most of the time dangerously has high levels of the fecal matter bacteria.
Okay. And anyway, there's no other questions or comments for the governor's rep. We appreciate you very much coming tonight, Mr. Aguilar. And we'll just remind the public that the legislature's finished. We have, I see one member of our legislature here tonight, and they are at the bills that have been passed are at the governor's office right now. If you like them, tell him you would like him to sign them. If you don't like them, ask him to veto them. This is your chance to have a little bit last minute participation in this beyond the courts. So with that, thank you, Mr. Aguilar. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you all.
Let's see. Is there anyone from Mr. Chang's office, from Senator Stanley Chang's office? Curtis says no. Les Ihara, Senator Ihara's office. He says no. And Carol Fukunaga. Carol just has a tiny portion of our neighborhood board 5. I do see that we have our new State House Representative, Tina Nakata Grandinetti. Thank you for coming tonight, Representative, and feel free to give us an update.
Hello. Yes, we finished legislative session last Friday. It was a wild ride, and I actually really enjoyed the whole process. My personal updates, I got one bill through to the finish line with the help of Senator Stanley Chang. He carried the Senate companion SB 332, which is a bill that focuses on, it's a tool for community ownership of land, and it specifically prohibits foreclosed properties from being bundled together at auction so that only investors can buy them. And it also gives community organizations and the city and state the first opportunity to purchase or match, or to bid or match a public bid on those properties. And it's really about, it's for post-disaster areas like Lahaina, or in the cases of foreclosure crises, which, you know, given our current economic uncertainty, may be around the corner at any point now. But it's a tool to prevent speculation in our housing market and keep local homes in local hands. So I'm really excited about that one. We worked really hard with community land trusts, and I'm really excited about that. Bigger picture, I'm proud of the work that we did this session at the legislature. There are a few things I'm really disappointed about, which I know this board will be disappointed about too. We failed to pass meaningful campaign reform legislation. We did not pass the bill to end pay to play politics. We didn't pass paid family leave, which Rep. Sayama introduced, which I was personally really disappointed about. I know a lot of people in my generation would benefit a lot from measures like that, but we did make some progress in the form of a working group. But some actual wins that we can celebrate. We expanded access to free school meals, which will help a lot of our keiki be better learners with, you know, full stomachs in the classroom. We passed a historic green fee that will help fund conservation and climate resilience. We funded affordable housing, and what else? We enhanced biosecurity efforts to confront threats like coconut rhinoceros beetle and little fire ants. So first session was a real experience, and I'm happy that I got to see a lot of really good work take place. It also feels like, given the crisis we're facing at the federal level, like this constant feeling that we're not doing enough. But like I mentioned at previous neighborhood boards, we're still, we have dates set aside for special session. Oh, another big thing is that the legislature put aside $50 million in emergency monies to help nonprofits that may be affected by federal cuts. So that will be a real serious lifeline for providing critical services. I'm vice chair of the transportation committee, and we passed some pretty milestone legislation, which I think is very relevant to discussions we've had here. We passed this statewide regulatory framework for e-bikes in collaboration with stakeholders like Hawaii Bicycling League. So I think that will bring a lot of clarity for riders, for law enforcement. And I'm excited because that kind of clarity will actually help us to expand responsible use of e-bikes and focus on micromobility while also keeping our roads safer. And we also passed 2 sources of dedicated funding for safe routes to school, which is one of our best tools for expanding our pedestrian networks and making sure keiki and kupuna get around our neighborhoods more safely. So that's my big picture recap. Thank you. And here for any questions.
Thank you. Do we have questions or comments for Representative Nakata Grandinetti? Seeing that, can you tell us, I saw that there's a couple special session times that were reserved,
Yeah.
and what those would be, and also for the 50 million, is that more for health and human services type of things, or is it for all types of nonprofits? And then the third question I would have is, I already forgot. Go ahead.
The 50 million is going to be for specifically for organizations that were impacted by that are impacted by federal cuts. And I think that most likely the focus will be on social services. But one example I have of a nonprofit that was affected and benefited from our previous GIA round was the Hawaii Council for the Humanities. They do very important work on civic education and humanities education in our public schools. They run a program called National History Day, which I'm an alumni of, and they lost all of their funding, but they received a grant in aid. And so and they went right up to the top of the priority list because they were one of the first impacted by federal cuts. So, you know, I think that critical services will come first, but also things like that will definitely be in the picture too. And for special session, we have those 3 sets of dates. I can't remember. The first one is in August, then there's one in September, and I think another in November. I think they're all tentative right now, but from what I've last heard, which is not official, is that we'll be waiting until the continuing resolution expires at the federal level. So we'll have a clearer sense of what the federal budget will be like, and then we can respond more nimbly to that. So probably not the August session.
Okay, and then what happens with your staff in your office, and are you available and working now, or how does that work until when things start to come alive again?
I've lost my 2 session staffers, but my office manager, Emily, who's come here before, she's working year round full time. So am I. But sometimes we do a little bit of work from home hybrid. So it's best to make an appointment, but we are always answering our phones and emails and available to talk story whenever we're needed.
Thank you. Any of the questions or comments for Representative Nakata Grandinetti? We appreciate you coming and the work done. Thank you. And I see Representative Sayama is here as well. Thank you for coming, sir.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, members of the public, Representative Grandinetti. Always nice to see you. I think she did a great overview. I guess just to highlight a few more things in the budget this legislative session, we appropriated about a little over $800 million into the Maui Wildfire Settlement Relief Fund to settle some of those claims that happened in Lahaina during the wildfire incident there. We also appropriated $240 million into the Rental Housing Revolving Fund and the Dwelling Unit Revolving Fund to support affordable housing units. We also appropriated, I think it was about $3.6 million into the state internship program. This is to connect high school students and graduates as well as university students with paid internship programs in state agencies, as well as certain private businesses that partner with the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations. It's basically our state initiative to streamline that process from graduation to employment, also to address the state's vacancy rates. We also have, I believe, $3 million appropriated to address illegal fireworks. 1 million of that is for sting operations to crack down on the sale of illegal fireworks. 2 million is appropriated for the Department of Labor Law and Enforcement Agency for a firearms and explosives laboratory and disposal facility. We also clarified some definitions and I guess HRS, the statutes regarding illegal fireworks, so that we should make it much easier for local law enforcement to crack down on illegal firework activities. So hopefully we get to see the fruits of that legislation this coming holidays season. So we don't have to experience the same incidents we experienced the past new year. For myself, we were able to secure some funding for the Palolo schools that continue to feel a little bit anxiety with regards to their federal funds. But like Representative Grandinetti said, we did significantly expand their free school meals, which used to be a more subsidized school meals program. So now children and their families don't have to pay out of pocket or a subsidized school meal rather. If they qualify, it's completely free. So I think that's a great first step to ensuring that all of our students in Hawaii are fed properly and that they are able to concentrate on learning in the classroom. And as was mentioned earlier regarding paid family leave, yes, it is unfortunate that we couldn't get legislation passed this session. However, I think we made some progress in getting all the stakeholders finally together. I think this is the first year that we have everyone agreeing that we need the program. Department of Labor and Industrial Relations has historically completely opposed it, but they finally made a commitment to actually working with the legislature and stakeholders to implementing it. So in the budget, we have appropriated $750,000 for an actuarial study. Basically, to have a paid family leave program, we need to understand what are the benefits we are giving, how long these benefits are going to last for, and who can qualify for these benefits. And so to figure out all the math, we're having Department of Labor and Industrial Relations do that work this interim. Hopefully they'll be able to complete maybe a preliminary report before next legislative session so we could start to actually get into the weeds of what a paid family leave program will look like here in Hawaii. But that's something that I'm personally invested in, and I'm also going to be leading a task force on that with the department and other stakeholders throughout the interim. So excited to see what progress we could make on there. And I think, whatever is happening on the federal side, I think from the state legislature, we're still very committed to protecting the institutions and organizations that support our local families. And the 50 million emergency grant in aid is definitely one of those pieces. We also have in Office of Community Services appropriations to Richardson Law School's Immigration Crisis Center to ensure that immigrants in Hawaii are able to access the services necessary to protect themselves from most recent ICE raids and make sure that their legal status is clarified and again that they are able to be productive citizens here in Hawaii. With that, I am available for questions.
Thank you, Representative Sayama. We have a question from Madam Metzen.
Thank you so much, Representative. Curious about this new fireworks law or strengthened regulation. Will this kick in before or by the 4th of July to begin with?
I believe it kicks in July 1st, 2025. So
Okay.
it might be difficult. I'm hoping that our chairs who were working on this legislation have been proactively working with county law enforcement so that they are ready by the time July 4th or other holidays come by.
I'm all for fireworks as long as they're in Waikiki and controlled. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other questions or comments for Representative Sayama? But you're chair of the Labor Committee. What's the percentage you mentioned about vacancies in the state? What is do you know a rough idea of?
It varies from department to department, but our average is around 28 to 30% vacancy rates across the board. Oh, and also, sorry, for the St. Louis Heights residents, we do have a St. Louis Heights Community Association meeting, I believe this coming Monday. So please meet at the Hopolani Elementary School. I'm looking at Julia and Angie, 7:30? 7, okay, 7 p.m. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming and your hard work this session. So we look
Thank you.
forward to it. Will you all come back next month or are you going to take a break? Anyone? Yeah, both of you, you and Tia. Maybe be here. Okay. Okay, and we have a couple more representatives to go. We've still I don't know if Andrew Garrett was here. He has a little tiny portion like Carol Fukunaga does, but I did see Representative Ikaika Olds online. And thank you for waiting, sir. Do you have any updates for us?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Rep. Ikaika Olds, House District 23. What happens at the tail end of this is they get to see all the good stuff. So I'll just summarize with what I've shared from last month. So my own bill, House Bill 943, has made it to the finish line. Very grateful for that. And big shout out to your board member, Angie, for helping us get there. and hopefully the gov signs it and it gets some good work done. So the bill is to create a homeless triage center for substance abuse and mental illness treatment. Due to the financial crisis we have within our budget, we couldn't get the amount of money we would need for a proper program. But instead, what we're going to be doing is moving forward with a semi-pilot program with $500,000 per year for the next 2 years. And hopefully it is able to get up and running and start collecting data. And so that way, when we take a look at it in 2 years, we can see if that type of model was feasible. And then we can look to either expand it, better fund it, or look at something else. With that, I will take any questions. It looks like you guys are moving really quick.
Hey, yes, thank you, Representative. We have a question online from Laura Ruby.
Hi, Ikaika. Yes, you publicly supported our efforts to try to contain the vandalism at the Mo'ili Japanese Cemetery. And we have two quick fixes. I would like your help or your staff help to find out what already existing bills are in place. And we just need two quick fixes. One says that any church or temple is automatically included also in the property damage. Right now, Doug Chin stepped in and said it isn't included, but it should be. And the second one is that no scrap dealer or pawn shop will accept a bronze urns. It's like an addition of a sentence or two and probably already existing bills. I just don't know where they are or how we get them into the legislative package. If you could help, appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, Laura. We're going to be connecting offline, even for a potential GIA money for the organization to help us take care of the cemetery. But
good.
I mean, you would think that with this kind of, let's just call it, grave robbing and things like that, that it doesn't happen. And when we see something so heinous happen, all of a sudden it's like, well, where's the protections? And then you kind of forget in a modern world that this doesn't really happen so often, that the language never caught up to us. So we'll definitely take a look at the legislation and how we have to change the statutes to ensure that we can put the deterrent in place so that it doesn't happen again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And Linda? See Linda Wong, you're probably on mute.
I'm okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
I was muted. Okay, thank you. I don't know if I'm asking the right person, but I recently learned that the ban on adults marrying people 15 years old has lapsed in our state. So I wanted someone to address that and make it legal again. Can you help me with that? Point me in the right direction?
I'm sorry, to allow getting married at 15 or against getting married at 15?
No, that we used to have a ban to ban marriage to people 15 years old or under. But that ban has lapsed now.
If I remember correctly, and maybe some of the reps in the room might be able to jump in on this. If I remember correctly, there was a bill that was going through the House. I don't think it made it to the finish line, which would have made getting married only optional for people 18 and over. But if I remember correctly, that bill did not make it through. So
shame on the
minors
House.
getting married can still happen, to my knowledge.
Well, yes, I understand that, but how do we go about stopping that? It's a bunch of, pedophiles, if you ask me, that would want to marry somebody under 15.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And it sounds like a bill to close that has been happening for some time. So we just have to keep trying, and then we have to keep getting buy-in from, whoever is preventing it from making the finish line. We have to work with those individuals to see if we can get it. Oh, okay. Tina, go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't have too much to add except for that that bill was a priority of the Women's Legislative Caucus, which all women legislators are automatically members of. So I think it'll be a priority again next year. What's really interesting about I don't think there was much opposition to that bill. We had one Republican representative who was opposed because his grandma got married as a minor. But
boy.
one critique that I found really interesting was that spousal rights are also in some cases a protection for women, particularly like if they're, they have kids as a teenager, and then if they cohabitate with their significant other, they're not entitled to the same rights as if they were married and then get a divorce. So that was just, I think that was a source of opposition, which, was something new for me. But anyways, it was a priority of the Women's Legislative Caucus, and we will be revisiting it next session.
Can you keep me informed and how I might help? I'd like to know last year about the statistics of who voted for and against, and how many people who didn't hear it or could have heard it and didn't do it. I mean, we really need some follow-up on this. So could you give me a report on that at the next meeting?
Sure.
Okay. Amy Caruso recommended you to me, and so I followed through, and she used to be on our neighborhood board. So glad to have you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Mahalo.
Are there any other questions or comments for Representative Olds? Seeing none, thank you, sir. And yeah, congratulations on the session finishing for all of you. So just being cognizant of time, we've got not that much longer left. We've had a pretty fast agenda today. Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Chair, I'd like to inquire why the presentations are so far down on the agenda. We've had people waiting very patiently through all of this. A lot of discussion on other matters, and just to be fair to them for presentations in the future, if we could have them perhaps after community, Mr. Chair, after community concerns, because these would be community interest items.
I am open to that idea, and I switched it up this time because our representatives who come also, that folks want to hear from them, and we always have run out of time with them. And last time I think that that was the case. So, I mean, just by a casual show of hands, are you okay with it? Let's just say agenda the way it is this week or last time? So, do you prefer to have presentations after our elected representatives or before? Let's just, if I can indulge the board, or we can wait till board business to do this, but
Can we wait till board business so we don't
okay,
delay the presentation?
that's fine. But that's the short and long answer of it, is that presentations often ran so long that we were crimping the time to have connection with our elected representatives. Yes, absolutely. The solution is longer meetings. And I could not agree more. Sometimes we just need 15 minutes more, but this is a neighborhood commission issue. So with that, we will move on to our presentation, and thank you for the folks who have been waiting. We've got a couple here. One is the Rencon project at the natatorium for August 6th. Noe Tanigawa is here to explain about that.
Thank you so much. Aloha kaku. And thank you for time with this thoughtful and very plugged in board. And, others attending this meeting. Thank you. My name's Noe Tanigawa. I'm here with Richard Burton, and we're representing a group of artists and others in the community. We're putting together a commemoration. It's the 80th anniversary of the nuclear bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Our project is called the Rencon Project. Rencon is Japanese word for lotus root. Also, it's called hasu. You're familiar with it. It's in your bentos. It's in nishime. And it's said that you often see it at New Year's because you can see the future by looking through those holes in the root. Of course, it's the root of a lotus plant. And in many cultures, lotus are symbols of transcendence because they begin in the mud and manage to rise up and bloom, rise up on a long stem and bloom in the sun. So, and that is our sort of like our central metaphor for a film that we're going to be projecting onto the facade of the natatorium on the evening of August 6th this year. In addition, there'll be live dance and music, and we would also like to have projections of some of the hibakusha, atomic bomb survivors, and some civic leaders as well. So that's our plan. We plan to have it run from sunset, which is about 7 p.m. that night, until about 9 o'clock. Have I missed anything, Richard? Anything? So open to questions or comments.
Are there any questions for Ms. Tanagawa? Go ahead.
Hey, thank you for coming in and presenting. If we wanted to know any more information, how do we do that?
Oh, we're working on our website right now, but currently you would need to probably email me and, you know, what do you think would be best, Richard? Okay. Okay, website up the end of this month. Yeah, and we are in contact with the Friends of the Natatorium. They had a meeting last night on this topic, I believe, as part of their meeting topics. And we're in touch with the Mayor's Office on Culture and Arts, working closely with them. Just had a meeting today with the Sister Cities representative or liaison, and she's so great. And you're familiar with Marian Cadora. We're working closely with her as well, and with Brett Fisher, who's with the Parks Department over there at the Natatorium Park.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it a prayer session or meditation session?
There's no meditation or specifically prayer built in, but there'll be a performance by a Buto dancer. Buto dance is a dance form that was created by artists trying to work through the atomic bomb experience. So a Buto dancer will be there presenting what she calls a dedication to the four directions and a group sort of chant of the Lotus Sutra. That will also be part of the program.
We'll be there.
Yeah, oh, thank you so much. We realize it's a commemoration, yes, it's a reflection, yes, but it's also primarily a commitment to peace, like your shirt, Laura.
Thank you. And we got a couple questions online. We have one from Laura Ruby.
Yeah, hi, Noe. Yes, I have a concern. A number of years ago, through the Matsunaga Institute for Peace, we did the 50 Years with the Bomb exhibition. It traveled to all the islands. One of the things we were very concerned about is the hibakusha imagery, the very graphic, horrific imagery. And we decided that we put a little cover over those if somebody wanted to look at them. This is going to be much more public viewing. So how are you going to make sure that you don't have something that is so just, well, makes people feel very distraught? Are you going to, you know, in some way do work around it, or I'd just be concerned about the appropriateness to the audience? Thank you.
That's a concern we share. That's all I can say is that is a concern that we share. And the trajectory of this video is to recognize what the mud is like, but ultimately to rise above that. And we're ending up in joy and working together as pretty much the expression of what we can do right now. So I can't guarantee that no one will be feel uncomfortable because of the imagery. I can't guarantee that everybody's going to love every minute, but I can say that our aim is to end up in a place of unity, certainly in a place there at the natatorium that is so splendid. We really want to
Curtis,
make the most of
image is
that
frozen.
space. Oh, so sorry. I don't know.
Thank you. No, I think Laura's saying somebody's frozen something or other, but yes, thank you for that answer. We have another question for Margaret Murchie.
Hi, is this gonna close the streets around the
We will need to
auditorium,
close
parking and
some.
streets?
I understand. We will need to close a small section of the inner, the driveway that runs into the natatorium, sort of that park there that runs past the facade of the natatorium itself. We don't think we'll need to close off that entire driveway. It will be closed from right in front of the facade where that ramp begins to go down. It'll be closed from there to the kind of turnaround at the end.
What kind
No
of,
portion of
what kind of,
Kalakaua
how many
Avenue
people are
will be
gonna come?
affected.
Do you expect? How many people do you expect?
1 to 200. That
This is
would
gonna be an issue. And we do have issues with street parking and closing off the area. Did you
Yes.
talk to the city about this?
We have, and one thing we really do want to work around is the access for, ocean safety. And so we will not be closing off any parking prior to 5 p.m. We
How
will.
long is it gonna run?
We will need to do a rehearsal on August 5th. So that closure of the inner park drive section from just the ramp to the end of the turnaround there will be probably from about 5 to maybe 9 p.m. for the rehearsal night.
What day was this? What day of the week is this?
Tuesday night, the 9th, the 6th is Wednesday night.
Yeah, just, we've got to be cognizant of closing off the right of ways for people trying to enjoy the beach and the
Exactly. I mean,
parks.
I'm so often that person. The last thing I want to do is get in the way of people who just want to be
But
there.
that is going to create an impact for sure. So I
Yes.
think that
We
maybe
think
if
for
they
this
could do
occasion.
off-site parking or a trolley or something like that from the bandstand, maybe that would be better.
Okay, thank you,
Excuse me,
Margaret.
Chair.
And I think, does someone else have another comment? I'm hearing some.
I'm trying
Oh, it's
to
Linda. Go ahead,
raise my
Linda.
hand.
Go ahead, Linda. Are you on mute, Linda? Well, I don't know if Linda's going to come back on or not, but go ahead, Ms. Benson.
Thank you so much. I have a couple of questions here. Not too clear on this. Now, you're going to be projecting images off the natatorium's facade, and you're going to have dancers and 1 to 200 people. Where will the audience be situated, and where is the event area for the performances?
The performances will be in that grassy area that's between the palm trees, just, I guess you would say, mocha of the large monument rock. We think that the performance area is going to be a circle about 20 feet in diameter, and we don't plan to create any seating for.
Sounds off.
to be, the program to be done by around 8. And then we will have time for maybe some music and community gathering, just discussion in the area until, well, we plan to be pretty much done by 9, certainly out of there by 10.
Are you planning any concessions or
No,
nothing like that? It's
No.
simply an event to honor and remember history.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming today.
So much.
Is there a place where we can find out more information, a website or that you probably gave already?
Our website, will be done, we hope, by the end of this month. But if I could send my contact information to someone
Sure.
and make it available to you, because you may think of questions going forward.
Sure. You could send it to me and copy Curtis, and we'll put it in the Google Drive.
Great. Okay.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming tonight. And we have another presentation about the bus lines, and most of these are not going to be in our area, of course, but some of them will be. And we have someone from PBR Hawaii tonight. Eric?
Hi. Hi,
Go ahead.
my name's Eric Grover. I'm with the Department of Transportation Services, and I'll be introducing Teresa Dean, who is from PBR Hawaii, who will be doing the presentation on our behalf. And so if you're ready, Teresa, go ahead. Thank you.
Mahalo. Yep. Aloha Chair and board members. Mahalo for the opportunity to present information on the city's proposed bus service changes for the opening of the second phase of Skyline. As mentioned, my name is Teresa Dean. I'm a planner at PBR Hawaii. And so I'll just be walking us through a brief presentation on the proposed changes, and looking forward to your comments and feedback. So as you folks know, currently Skyline operates from East Kapolei to the Aloha Stadium. Starting in October of this year, service will be extended from the Aloha Stadium to Middle Street. Skyline hours will also be expanded with earlier starts and stops each day. So the bus is making changes to accommodate the rail extension, and bus hours are increasing to improve service for riders. Currently, bus service changes are being made in phases to correspond with the rail line openings. The first phase of bus service changes were completed in March of this year. We're looking at phase 2, which will correspond with the October opening of the additional rail stations, and then another phase 3 will be considered after October. It's anticipated that overall bus service hours will increase by approximately 3%, which is about 400,000 additional bus service hours. So first, I'd like to go over some of the changes that happened earlier this year with bus services. Routes 44, 461, and 415, which you can see in light purple, pinkish color, green, and blue lines respectively, were restructured to provide service to Skyline, and a new route number 47, which is shown in that darker purple, was added to get riders from Ewa Beach to the US West Oahu station. So what we're hoping to receive your feedback on today and over the next couple of months is the next series of changes or phases changes to correspond with the October opening. This is a graphic representation of how Bus and Skyline can integrate to make a more seamless transportation network. Big picture, the A line will shorten because it's redundant with new Skyline stations, and new routes to Waikiki and UH Manoa are proposed to be added. These changes are proposed to impact the core network of rapid buses, but keep in mind that there are feeder networks and localized service that will feed into this. So our first proposal is to truncate the A line. You can see the current route here in red that extends from UH Manoa all the way to the Pearl Ridge rail station. With the new station openings, the A line, now shown in that green color, will terminate at Lagoon Drive and connect to the Skyline station shown in blue. Hours of service are expanding to run later into the evening, and there's no change to the frequency of service. Next, we're proposing to discontinue Route 20 in favor of the W line. Here you can see that the current Route 20 is shown in this green dotted line, runs from the Halava station at Aloha Stadium into Waikiki. And you can see there's quite a bit of redundancy between the rail line and the bus route. So with the new proposed W line, which is now shown in this darker blue, it will start at the airport and end in Waikiki. You can see in the written text that the hours of service are expanding to add earlier mornings, but will still run late into the evening to service people who work in Waikiki. There will also be greater frequency of service, giving riders more flexibility in planning their commutes. And this is a bit more detail in sets of the W line changes. You can see that there's a smaller circle that will be made at the airport. And now the proposed W line will go down through Nimitz Highway instead of making the routes through the downtown core. We're also proposing a new U line, which is shown in this dark green here, that would run from Mapunapuna to UH Manoa on weekdays. Sorry about that. This will allow anyone to catch Skyline and then hop onto a limited stop bus to get them to campus. The frequency proposed is every hour, with extra trips during the AM and PM times. Next, we're proposing to discontinue Route 303 in favor of Route 331. You can see the current Route 303, which services the Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam, shown in this orange hashed line. And there's quite, again, a bit of redundancy with the new Skyline stations. So the proposal would be to reduce the 303 line so that it still services the Joint Base and then connects to the Makalapa station. Next, routes 40, 42, and 51, shown in orange, red, and green respectively, will be rerouted so that it connects to the Skyline Lagoon station. That Route 51, which is shown in green, will be adjusted so that it also connects to the Pearl Highland station. And then finally, we're proposing to have a service frequency reduction for Route 46. Route 46 runs between Kapolei and West Oahu, and it will be adjusted to run from every 10 minutes to now every 15 minutes. And this is to keep up with current demand, current ridership. And then finally, we wanted to share some future changes that will be proposed in phase 3 for your consideration. Again, a graphic representation about how the different lines that I'm going to be sharing streamline with Skyline. So we're considering line C, which now runs from Makaha into town, would terminate at the UH West Oahu station so that riders can get out of traffic and then continue their commute. It would change from a one, the red line is the C line, the current C line. So it would require riders to have a 2-seat stop, but it also will pull people out of traffic in the H1. You'll have a more efficient ride and hopefully get you to where you need to go a little bit faster. As another example, we have the E line, which could be adjusted to run from Wahiawa to Ewa Beach. This would be providing service Mauka to Makai, improve route frequency, and connect again to Skyline at the stations. These are all just proposals. We're really interested in receiving your feedback, your thoughts, your comments, and questions. So please feel free to reach out to us at thebusstop@honolulu.gov. We're asking for comments on these proposals to be submitted to us no later than July 15th. Also, you can visit DTS at their website, www.honolulu.gov/DTS. And there you can watch videos on how to ride Skyline, get more information on bus to rail connections and transfer information, and fare capping. So that's our presentation for this evening, and I'm happy to collect any thoughts or comments at this time.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I just as a we're not going to solve the problems with the bus and the train tonight. But I wonder if if there's going to be like a general meeting for people that are actually, you don't want to attend this, some by DTS that's maybe held at Memorial Mission Hall or something along those lines, or online meetings beyond a presentation.
So currently DTS is actually reaching out to all of the neighborhood boards and giving similar presentations. I think right now we were confirmed at 14 or 15 of them. So this is our primary outreach to get comments and feedback. I'm not quite sure if there are other opportunities or public meetings planned at this time. So right now we're just asking for written public comments.
Okay, I would suggest that there be a general meeting held for people that want to delve into this more deeply than might be allowed at a neighborhood board. But with that, we can have a couple short comments from Daisy.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I'm a commuter on the city bus almost on a daily basis, and there is a huge fault regarding your proposed Route W that will replace Route 20. My question is, you can get to Alman Center, you can get to the airport, then you can get to Skyline, but how will people on Nimitz Highway be able to access going to a commuter, another feeder bus route to go to Wahiwa, Makaha, even to Liliha, Kalihi? You know, there's no major bus terminus for them to go. Where on are you proposing to do on limits? Right now it goes across, which is a major transfer place at across the state capital, where they can catch all the connecting buses. But then when you go to limits, there's nothing unless you go by Zippies. That doesn't make sense. How are these people going to be able to transfer to buses? Apparently, and also you're not going to go up South Street, so that affects people in that area of Kakako. So apparently, whoever has designed this does not ride the bus on a frequency, because otherwise this major transportation connection is lost. So I suggest that perhaps make W as a express, like the W1, 2, and 3 for the hotel workers, and then continue and leave bus route 20 alone as is, because you're going to confuse a lot of people. Tourists that go to want to go to Chinatown, they will have to walk 1 to 5 blocks just to get to Beretania Street from Nimitz Highway, which makes no sense at all. Would you like to have tourists do that? I don't think so. People that work in Waikiki, they want to go to places that need to go home or other places. That does not make any sense. So you need to reconfigure that, because it makes no sense at all. So apparently whoever is designing does not ride the commuter bus system at all. The other thing is, were you also involved in rerouting bus 200? Because that seems to work for Palo, people that live in Palo Locos, they need it to go in and out. But as far as going to Waikiki, very few people ride it, so it makes no sense. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I will mention, in terms of your question regarding connections to other towns, I think the intent is, of course, that from Nimitz you would get on Skyline and then connect to the express routes that go up to Wahiwa, into Makaha, that sort of thing. But also we want to emphasize that these are proposed changes to express buses, and that we're still going to have the feeder networks that connect in. So there's still going to be other opportunities to connect to other buses. It's not necessarily that you cut off access to other connections. But thank you for your yeah, I appreciate your
Chair?
comment, Daisy, and I'm happy to send
May I
that back to
counter?
DTS.
May I counter that remark regarding feeder buses?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for, apparently, I like to see where on Nimitz Highway people are going to be able to access all these other routes of Kalihi, etc. Unless you're on Nimitz Highway, you're far from the connecting buses. We're not talking about all those express buses. I'm talking about regular buses that services the community. Those people will be alienated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daisy. And yeah, Teresa, you should count Daisy like as 1,000 comments because she's got pretty akamai about this stuff. Margaret, a brief comment, if you could.
Yeah, I was just thinking, where is the parking for all of these riders? Where will they park? And I think that if they have to they won't get out of their cars with no direct service. And it's just gonna take them a lot longer, trying to navigate their way from the bus line to the rail line. And it doesn't make any sense. In fact, it's not well thought out. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Margaret.
Taking away the Pearl City, parking was ridiculous.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Margaret.
your
And
comment.
Angie?
Yeah, thank you for coming. I'm excited to hear that the rail's hours are extending, so we'll be able to use it until 10 p.m. That's really exciting. I did have a question regarding Kalihi Transit Center.
Sure.
I bring this up anytime I can because it's a high traffic area. Are you guys looking at the pedestrian safety impacts connecting the transit center over to Sand Island and Nimitz Highway? Because I know already there is a commuter route that goes around, but in lieu of that, we have a lot of people dodging traffic, and especially when it's bumper to bumper, they're just walking through it. So I was curious if you guys are also consulting or thinking of doing pedestrian bridge in that area.
Great question. Thank you. I don't have an immediate response, but I will take it back to DTS and the team. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Teresa. There's no
Thank
other
you.
questions or comments. Ms. Matson?
Yes, this has been a very interesting presentation despite not being in our area. It shows what could be next in our area. I'm a little confused here about your comment about downtown. Did you say that bus transport is going to be removed from downtown?
Let me share my screen again and I can show you the proposal.
And I just want to add that Daisy is so akamai because she has participated on AMPO for many years, and she's very keen on the strategy as well as the efficiency of the bus system. Thank you.
Great. So what you can see here with the proposal for the W line, this is the inset here. So currently Route 20 goes up Eagle Road and then makes this route through downtown. The W line will go down through Nimitz Highway and bypass this route through the downtown core.
So that the downtown core route is being eliminated? Or
it's
in addition to the downtown?
So the W would replace the 20, yes.
Oh, so people won't be able to take buses from their offices or from locations along the main streets downtown?
This is an adjustment to the 20, but there will still be other routes. There are other feeder routes. So
Where
it's
are
not
they?
like, it's not eliminating service through the downtown core.
Okay, I think people would need to understand exactly where each route is. And we've seen a clear picture of the replacement along Nimitz, but not much else. I think people really need to know how they're going to efficiently get back and forth from their offices or wherever they're going downtown. Second question is, you showed, is it a new route from UH Manoa? Or is that tracing the existing route? All these bus changes for the Blight line seem very confusing. So we would need to see drawings and maps, and we would need to be able to relate these changes to what we might expect in our area.
Sure. So regarding your question of the new U line, it is a new additional line. It would connect directly from Skyline to UH. It would be an express route, so students or anyone can get off of Skyline, hop onto the U line, and then take that direct connection into the into UH Manoa. So this is added service. And as I mentioned in the earlier part of the presentation, all of these changes will add about, I think, 40,000 more bus service hours. So we're not cutting service hours, even though there are going to be adjustments to routes.
And I just have a follow-up question regarding the Blight Line stations, as they've been designed like huge monsters around Pearl City and elsewhere. Are we expecting that to go through the downtown historic district as well, or will we have compatible architecture for the historic area instead of these hideous things that look like monsters? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I will give that back to DTS. It's not part of the proposals that I shared with you today, so I don't have information on it to give to you.
Thanks, Teresa. And we have one more comment from Angie.
Yeah, I just had a clarifying question. At this point, you guys are not considering adjusting the 1 or the 1L, correct? Those would still go through downtown.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, good. I'm glad you know the lines.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Teresa.
Hands up.
And Linda, if you could make it brief, we have some board business.
I can. I'd like to know who's going to pay for all this with property taxes doubling and maintenance fees in condos. We're getting priced out of paradise.
Thank you for your question. I can get that to DTS. To the best of my knowledge, public transportation, so bus service and Skyline is federally subsidized. So a portion of the monies is supported by federal funds. But if you would like details, I'm happy to bring this question back to DTS.
Thank you, Teresa.
Well, the rail was only supposed to cost 3 million, and it went up to billions. So that doesn't seem to be a very good practice.
You're
Thank
paying
you.
for it, Linda, long and short
I
of it.
know.
But with that, we're going to let Teresa go. We have some board business to have.
Okay.
So thank you very much for coming, Teresa, and we look forward to your answers.
Sure.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
I would just like to request for the record
Yep.
that the comments during this conversation and the questions and the concerns
Be noted in the minutes.
not noted, reflected
Okay.
as stated in the minutes.
So noted.
We only get a little line of questions, comments, and concerns followed.
Okay, we
It
can
does
have, we
not
can make that specific request, and I think Curtis got that, and he'll make sure that that comes out.
Does not reflect the public concerns, the community constituents' questions in our meeting summaries, and we need minutes.
Well,
But
if you
there's-
specifically requested, it gets in there, so that'll happen.
Well, you did too, and it didn't.
Well, hopefully this one will. I think Curtis hears that. So
Thank you, Chair.
thank you, Teresa. Okay, then moving on for board business, we have a couple minutes left. Let's be cognizant of that. Okay, show of hands here. Who wants presentations before elected officials?
I have a question of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you expecting the virtual people to raise their hands as well, or are you wanting a vote?
This is a straw poll. Did you like presentations tonight after politicians? Raise your hand. Did you like them? Do you prefer them before our politicians? Raise your hand. Okay, then the masses have voted. We will put them before. Thank you for that. I just thought like we'd switch it up. Okay,
I do have a question.
Okay.
If we're going to put the presentations always before the representatives, I recommend that we set a time frame. In other words, if we haven't got to our reps by 7:45, whatever the
yep.
time is, that we defer the presentations to finish afterward.
Okay, that's a good point. That they pick up after. You mean that we stop it and pick it up later?
Yes,
Okay,
because that,
that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Thank you, Arlene. Yeah, and the problem, as Ms. Matson pointed out, is our meetings simply are not long enough when we need an extra, sometimes just 15 minutes. Yes, it does. I'd just like to go ahead to sub-district reports. Julia, did you have anything for sub-district 1?
I'll just repeat that
Can I-
St. Louis Heights Community Association, our next meeting will be this coming Monday, May 12th, 7 p.m. at Hokolani Elementary School.
Okay, thank you. And Anthony, did you have anything for our sub-district 2 report?
May is Bike Month in Honolulu, so please give bikers space. The sharrows on the road, it's instructions. Thank you.
Okay, and Linda, did you have anything for
Yes,
Diamond Head?
the complaints of Diamond Head Towers is still ongoing. And I'd like to ask Tommy's rep to ask him about that, what he's got in mind. And also, let's see, this presentation at the natatorium, could someone have that person call me or email? Yeah, call me, because
Yes.
I'm the chair of,
Okay, I will.
and it's not gonna,
Okay, I'll do that.
you're gonna have to close the streets. It's there's climb on the beach to put in how many hundreds more. You're just gonna, I don't see it happening, and I've been looking at this for close to well over 30 years now.
Okay, thank you, Linda. And let's go
Thank
back
you.
then for board committee reports. I don't think we had any board committee meetings, but I just wanted to clarify if I could. I know I neglected to write this down earlier. On the Parks and Zoning Committee, Michelle is chair. Who else is on the Parks and Zoning Committee or would like to be as Rafia? Planning and Zoning, I'm sorry. Yes, Rafia. And I'm ex officio on all of them. Any other board members online? Bruce, Margaret, Laura, let me know if you are. On the Environment Committee, Arlene is chair. We have Angie, Michelle, and are there others who are interested on the Environment Committee? I think. Let me know if you are, if you're online. Traffic, Margaret's been chair of traffic and public safety. Now, Margaret, do you want to continue that as chair? Do you want to be co-chair? Do you want Anthony has volunteered to be one of them? Or both of them?
I prefer to be both co-chair
Okay. Say it again.
if possible,
Co-chair of traffic?
because of the time.
Sorry, I spoke without the mic. Can I be your co-chair for traffic and safety?
I want to be the co-chair.
You're
I
cute.
needed,
You're going to be co-chair? 2 co-chairs? Okay.
no,
Yeah, she
no,
wanted to be
no,
co-chair,
no,
yeah?
no,
Okay. And
no.
Anthony, do you want to do parks then? You want to be co-chair with parks, Anthony? Would that work out? Okay. And Margaret, you okay with that?
What?
Co-chair of park with Anthony?
Yeah, sure. That's what I thought I was talking about, what you asked me to text.
Yes. And also on parks, I have Michelle, Margaret, Anthony, traffic, Angie, Margaret.
I'm not sure that Angie is
Raphael?
the perfect person for traffic and safety, though.
Traffic and
No
safety. Yeah.
offense, but
And Bruce, I don't know if you want to be on traffic and safety too, but you're a natural for that.
yeah. I'll do that if Bruce does that, somebody else does that, but yeah,
Okay. If I've gotten that wrong, just email me if you want to be on
okay.
one of those committees. With that, we're at 7:59 and we're going to end in a minute. The next meeting that we have is going to be, yes, June. It's the second Thursday. It's on the agenda here, June 12th. Same place, same time. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
active and involved in your community. and for all of you who stayed online. And with that, I will bid you a happy rest of your May. Happy Mother's Day. And we'll see you here. With that, meeting adjourned.